besttvlove.org. You are now watching WYSIWYG TV.
What's going on? It is Thursday, everybody. How you doing? Welcome. We're gonna have some fun. I think we're gonna have some fun. Let everybody get in here. Say hi. What's going on, Ducks and Grandma? Chuck W's here. Did y'all read that awesome, slick title? And did a little pre-homework today through some links in the chat or in the description of the video for those of you who want to check out some of those who we're going to discuss, take a look at. How's everybody's Thursday going? Mine was a little cold, but it warmed up nicely. It's almost 40 degrees right now. So it's warming up. It's nice. Michelle, how are you? Let me get my stuff set up here. Lenny, good afternoon. It's a rare Thursday afternoon. I just kind of, I spend my day at work. I've got a lot of alone time. So I listen into things, right? Not that long ago, I used to listen to, I'd have Fox News on, the Sirius XM Fox News channel, and listen to the shows and listen to what was going on and listen to news radio. Rarely did I listen to music. I like music, but music doesn't feel like you're gaining anything at the time. So I did a lot of news radio, like hearing different things. I used to, what's his name? Michael, Singularity. He's this wacky left-wing progressive that was on Sirius Radio, and I'd listen to his show and just scream in the car because the absurdities I was hearing, which is funny because that's something we're going to talk about today. The title of the stream is Scientology cultist doesn't realize she's still in a cult. And don't get me wrong. Door knocker, how are you, dear? Hope's here. Hey, y'all. Thank you for hanging out and being here. I know I didn't give anybody heads up, but I like surprises. I hope you do too. Surprises are going to be when I get this beard trimmed. I'm still like, I tell you guys this all the time, like the Christmas thing and playing Santa, and I will never show you the Santa video, but it's fun. And in a way, I kind of really want to work on this to become more Santa. So like wintertime, one, it's cold and it's just cold outside. And I need all the help I can get keeping my face warm. And I hate wearing things on my face, but I like having the beard because it keeps me warm. It's getting into my neckline where it kind of like my shirt collars. It drives me nuts sometimes, but did I make it whiter? No, this is au naturel. My father and my grandfather both had gray hair. I'm going the same way. The gray is working from bottom up, apparently, I guess. Rhonda, we are doing very well. Thank you so much. Now everybody's great. We're having a good time, and we got a new little one that just arrived recently, and cute as hell, man. Not my little one. I know you guys get like, y'all thought I got married. Y'all thought I was pregnant, having a, no. The unicorn has children. Like I have a child. Unicorn has children. Her children are older than mine. They're adults. They're grown adults, and they're pretty awesome adults. And there's now 3 grandkids, and so she just awesome Grammy. But yeah, we got another new one. So that was kind of exciting in the last couple weeks. Last week, actually. But a little sooner than expected, but it was good. So you know what? Unicorn gets me beard lotion. I don't know what it is. I can't seem to put it in there. I need to. I really need to. Like I cannot take care of my hands either. I don't know what it is. But I do like a nice eucalyptus beard oil. Definitely. But right? Nothing like a new baby in the family. AMC Kingdom's here. Yeah. I have so many things that I would love to share with you guys, and they all blend together. And like I said last time too, I don't spend the time pulling this all together, but I got a couple tabs open, and make a long story short, you guys, we've talked about the anti-Scientology protesters. Well, they're eating themselves alive. And they're having troubles within the ranks, and it's interesting because one of the, I guess when people see something working for someone else, they tend to try to duplicate that magic, and that that's what I'm looking for. They want to be a part of it, right? And I know, right? 2 days in a row, Troy. Was it two? No, I didn't stream yesterday. Tuesday I streamed. Tuesday I did a stream because I had done jury duty Tuesday. We had stuff to talk about. But welcome, Troy. Glad you're here. Sorry, the cold weather just has my nose destroyed, but I'm going to try to keep it at bay. But so anyway, stay on point. I'm watching the chat, doing the best I can here. So you have this group of Scientology protesters. When this all started, you have this Aaron Smith Levin. There's a few big names in the anti-Scientology game, right? Most publicly known is Leah Remini. And Leah Remini, she did her television series, mini series, whatever you want to get, documentary series. And I think that probably drew a lot of interest for people into her experience in Scientology. And, she tells a very different story because her entire family was in Scientology, and a couple generations of family in Scientology. Her mother's a big part of that story. And when she tells that story, and her mother being with her when she learned about this level, and fascinating. If you haven't seen the Leah Remini documentary about Scientology, I highly recommend watching it. It's entertaining. It's interesting. It's told from her perspective. And I would venture to say the most honest and realistic view of what Scientology is. And then you had more recently, this person, Streets LA. He had an issue. What he does is he goes around LA and harasses police officers. While he was in the midst of his harassment, he stepped onto Scientology property and immediately triggered him. He's going to take this guy down. He's going to cook him. He's going to do all these things, threats and whatnot, like he does. And that started his Scientology protest. So this guy, Streets LA, he goes by Streets LA, William Good. He's out on Hollywood Boulevard in front of what is a Scientology recruiting. And Scientology in Los Angeles has a number of buildings in the Hollywood area that they have renovated, that were previously drug dens, all kinds of like, they're rundown Hollywood, like both sides of the street, couple buildings. They bought up these properties and renovated them and cleaned up part of the cleanup process of Hollywood Boulevard. Many years ago, did this. So they have this, I guess it's a test center. Like they stand out on the street and they offer to give you a personality test, and basically it's to get you interested and understand what Scientology is. So William Good is out there and he's protesting, harassing Scientology because of what happened during this police stop. And you see this group start because they see William is growing a channel. Oh, look, I love this. I just got this live. This is great. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull this up as a screen share. I've never tried this with an email. Window. No, because it's a notification, so it's not a window yet. So I just have to open it. Okay. Let me this is my fan. One of my biggest fans, actually. Let's see if I can make this so you guys can see it really well. Feel free to email this person all you want. I'm sure they would love the there it is. There it is. Jabbles in Cage. So apparently this is some reference to Jack Black's band. I forget what they're called, but this is the nonsense that I get sent from this person constantly. It's like it's often they just sent me these short little messages. I usually don't. We talked about it once before. But that one just popped up during the stream because strangely, how do I get to all the emails? I want to see the whole thing. What's that? Close window. I'll tell you, there's some really interesting new. Okay, I got to go that way. Jables. Okay. Will this show me the whole thread? Okay, there's the whole thread. Now I just want to. Can I show you? I'm trying to open up the. I don't want to show you all my emails. It's mostly junk email, but just trying to figure out how to show you this thread. How can I do that? Let me see what the options are here again. They email me occasionally. Oh, wait. Oh, I have to change it. So, okay. So I got to restart that. Okay, now I can pick whichever piece I want, but I want to show part of it. Gosh, this shouldn't be so difficult, but the thing about this app this is StreamYards. StreamYards doesn't allow you to resize windows, so you can just show what you want to show. I don't know how to get rid of that. Please hold. Please hold. I promise you this is interesting. But here, I'll just read them to you. It'll be so much easier if I just read you the emails. Why so quiet? Then again, why so quiet? Like the next day. And then the next day, regarding why so quiet. No profound thoughts on Antifa super soldier, Luigi? Who's pathetic, Chris? Antifa super soldier, Luigi. And then there was he sends me this one. This was weird. Did you know that roughly 800 North Carolina Confederates deserted their post during the battle for South Mountain, running off into the bear-infested woodland? Question mark. Some made it to Boonesboro. Boonesboro is a neighboring town of Hagerstown. Great little neighborhood. Great little town. We have boroughs and we have, what are they? We got trouble. Oh, low signal. Connection is unstable. Oh, man. I hope I'm not messing the unicorn up. Okay. It's funny. I just noticed that. Oh, I see. It pops up when there's problems. Then it goes away. Okay. Keep an eye on that. Some made it to Boonesboro. I imagine some made it as far as Funkstown, which is just kind of adjacent to Hagerstown. Battle of Funkstown. It's, I guess, a famous battle. Some made it as far as Funkstown, where they changed their clothes, maybe got a shave, and slunk into the shadows. Maybe that's what drew you to this place. You think that might have, like, I'm not sure where this person, like, mentally is, but just from the emails, I'm going to assume you've gone radio silence. And I'm reading this the way it reads here. I'm going to assume you've gone radio silence because you're mainlining Hooked on Phonics. You may learn a thing or two, champ. Oh, please don't report me to notable American patriot Seb Gorka or Kash Patel. Brer, Wizzy? Then it closed out. You absolute dumb fuck. That's me, the person emailing from a proton.me account to harass me, I guess. I'm not sure what kind of harassment this is, but it is funny. I better see you out in public. Seek heiling like your, he uses the F slur. Your F slur thought leaders. Chris. Nazi get the wall. Nazis get the wall is his threat. What do you suppose that is alluding to? Was that today? 2:37. Oh, that was the new one today. And which is a great segue because you guys have seen the claim that I gotta close that one down. Remember, we learned the lesson. We have to use Google Chrome in order to show cool stuff. You guys have all seen the Elon Musk Nazi salute, right? Because that seems to be all the talk today. Oh, come on. I'm already signed in. Don't make me do that. Again, another complaint about all of these things. Use multiple browsers. You got to stay signed in on all these things. It's just stupid. I'm not doing that. So we'll use Safari and hope for the best. Where'd you go, Safari? There you are. Okay. we're getting just a wee bit sidetracked, but do you guys need to see that? I don't think you need to see that. FBI and DHS just raided a big immigration lawyer in Rhode Island. Okay. Let me see if I can find it. It may have just finally disappeared because I think most of them realized that it was not looking good for their party to be making up nonsense. How many, show of hands, find the little hand icon in your characters. Throw a hand up for me if you understand that Elon Musk is on the spectrum. And I guess now they call it autism, right? Genius level autism. Throw a hand up if you get that. And if you don't get that, thumbs down, because I'm curious how many people really understand or know, about autism and the awkwardness of it. And for anybody who isn't, I don't know, brainwashed, I guess, if you can't see and understand how this one person has done so much to change, the world in a sense, because it is world changing. We don't have too many people like that. There's people who have changed the world. And I heard, the Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison and the light bulb, right? Edison didn't invent the light bulb. He made it so that people could use the light bulb. And he figured out a way to distribute the electricity. He figured out a way for the town to become electrified. He figured out how, to create sort of an industry out of energizing a town. He sold an idea to people. They bought into it. They powered up their homes. They put light bulbs in their home, and they weren't using gas lamps anymore, right? So, Elon Musk didn't invent the electric car, but he created the first U.S. electric car. Oh, here we go. We got to reply, everybody. We got to reply. Let's see. Then go explain away a Nazi salute. Bend the knee, Wizzy. Hey, Jables in Cage. There's a link. Can everybody see the pinned link? Jables, you're more than welcome to join me on stage. I would be fascinated to talk to my email stalker. He says, and I want to make sure you guys know that I'm not messing around here. This email just came in from Jables. Here it is here. Let me see if I can see what happens as it changes the size. Oh yeah, look at that. So if I change the size here, it shows 248. Yeah, 1 minute ago. Go ahead and explain away the Nazi salute. There's nothing to explain away. He said, my heart goes out to you, right? He's not. If you watched what the example I gave the other day, which was really interesting, was it during the? No, it was the day before inauguration, so it would have been Sunday at the Trump rally. Trump, calls out his name, pulls him up on stage. He's not prepared. And you saw how awkward, socially awkward Elon Musk was. And I go, oh, because Unicorn, very familiar with people with autism. And we love the show Love on the Spectrum. And I'm like, oh yeah, that shows, right there. But it doesn't matter. AMC Kingdom wouldn't give him any airtime. We give him airtime because I think it's funny. I think it's hysterical. Because is there anything in there? Is there anything in there that actually compels his argument? There isn't. There never is. And so what we'll do is we'll carry on to where this is going. So going back half a step to all the streamers. So there's a number of couple notable. Aaron Smith Levin and Nora have probably the largest of the stream. Remember I said SPs. SP is suppressive person. They have something called SPTV. So within that SPTV group, you have Aaron Smith Levin and then Nora, and a handful of other streamers that have adopted that. Even Scott at one point, I think, was putting SPTV up in his stream. And you'd see this logo here. Let me see. I don't like how I can't quickly share a screen, but here. So this is the SP. This is don't do that. See the logo on the left side there, SPTV. That's their moniker to the anti-Scientology protests. And this is Aaron's channel, which I have linked in the past. And he was going on today about subscribers, because Scott DOA is trying to I would have rather moved to West Virginia. West Virginia is a much freer state. So, but Hagerstown's great too. It is a little left wing though. Telescope. I'd rather live where you live. I like Cumberland. I like old town Cumberland. Hagerstown is losing its old school charm, unfortunately. That's what I'm seeing. But welcome, Telescope. Is he just waking up? I'm sure he didn't just wake up. Door knocker, that's just making things up now. SP equals special people. No, it does not equal Troy, maybe you missed this, and I'll give everybody a recap. A suppressive person is someone who cuts you down, right? So so in Scientology, you have people that, and all life in general, you don't have to be a Scientologist to recognize when somebody's suppressive. Somebody who doesn't support you, somebody who, instead of lifting you up, they squash you down, right? You're not good enough. Those types of examples. You can figure out what a suppressive person is. Maybe you can think about, who might be a suppressive person in your life. It could be a family member. It could be any number of things, but then, like how you handle it and letting them know. And, it could just be personalities. It could be a number of things. But in Scientology and these protesters, they talk about disconnecting. And the disconnection comes from the process of trying to deal with suppressive person, people, whatever that may be. And they're often truly dishonest about it, because you don't become a Scientology and disconnect from the rest of the world. That's just false. But if you join Scientology and for some reason, somebody goes, oh, you shouldn't join that. That's a cult. That's this, it's that. And you go, oh, you know what? I've been there. I don't see any signs of a cult so far. And this is what I've been doing and whatnot. And, they continue to sort of, go after you about that. And then, because of that, and this is, I don't want to get too into the weeds with the breakdown of what this is. But at some point, you basically have to figure out how to confront this and say, hey, look, this is something I want to do. It doesn't have to be Scientology. It could be, you want to ride a bike and somebody's like, no, you're too big to ride a bike. You need a 3-wheeler. No, I want to ride a 2-wheeler. And you're like, look, no, I'm going to learn how to ride this. I'm going to learn how to ride a unicycle. No, you're going to kill yourself. No, I really want to learn to ride a unicycle. And so sometimes, that's that. Now, obviously family looks out for you and they, want to do right by you. But, there's a way to do that without being suppressive. And so these people, when they use the moniker SPTV, what they're doing is they're actually being quite suppressive. And it's not a good thing, Troy. So yeah, hopefully that works it all out. I was going to tell Gage or whatever his name is. He sent me another email. I'm done with you. So I'm gonna heed my friend AMC. We're gonna ignore you because we're gonna keep doing our thing here. But anyway, so that's what that is. And so these guys are there. So let me bring up Nora. Nora was interesting because they've been having this argument amongst like who's not protesting, and that's where I was watching this guy earlier today, and he was oh, here, please hold, please hold, please hold, please hold. I add this back up here. So will it go like that? Hey, look at that. That's kind of cool. Oh, wait. I also think I did something over here, too, that might be kind of... Oh, that's bigger. Okay, I don't want to do that. Let's do that. So, this guy, Aaron Smith Levin, which, by the way, I can't chat in his chat. They've all banned me. And he's an interesting character. He's probably the most Scientologist of them all. I don't know what level of training he has in Scientology, but he was in Scientology for a long time, and it shows. And so I was watching. Oh no! Oh, see, it won't change. See, okay. Let me see if I change it that way. How do I change this without full screen layout? Oh, I see. How do I change this? Edit name. No. Okay, so I basically have to shut it down. Well, shut down that window and represent. So let me do it so I can show my entire screen here. Stop screen sharing, and then present screen share, and then I can window. Okay, now I'm sharing it as a complete window, which I guess we'll have to do that. Interesting. So Nora here. What's up with Nora? This is Nora. This is her channel. Now I linked all of these channels in the description of this live video. God, he says road trip sounds good. I do a road trip every day, Connie. I literally I might have found the best job for me ever. I go out on the road every day and I drive around the area and I have a blast and I meet great fun people and it's good times. It's good times. So I do. I wish I could share it with you, but I can't. But it is an awful lot of fun and I see such great places. The greatest farms and some good stuff. But a lot of places I want to go back and visit. But anyway, so within these Scientologists and the stories, so sometimes you got to like follow to understand what's going on because there's a whole nother level. Like there's drama and then there's drama and there is so much drama within this community, this community here with Nora and DOA and Aaron Smith Levin. Nora claims that and DOA and a number of other people that Aaron Smith Levin is their claim buying subscribers. And so he came on today and he did this video. I was caught faking YouTube subscribers. So he had 250,000 subscribers and he cheated on Jenna Miscavige, the niece of David Miscavige, who is currently the head of Scientology. Basically was put in place by L. Ron Hubbard, apparently, before he died. I don't know how exactly David Miscavige became the leader of Scientology, but really it's about L. Ron Hubbard over there, not about David. But David is the top person, the top executive, the top guy, whatever. He's the one in charge. Jenna Miscavige is his niece. There's an interview with David Miscavige's dad, his dad, and he talks about his wife and him escaping Scientology, which is really interesting because if you watch the whole thing, he actually talks about why Scientology is good and what people get out of it. But his complaint is about what his son did and what an asshole he became. And it's a fascinating interview because I've heard people talk about this. I've heard people talk about this interview, and I went and watched it. I go, wow, this is really fascinating. This is interesting. Like I've heard some of the claims, but his dad did the music for a lot of the Scientology productions. So, and he talks about this in the interview. I wish I could remember who the interview was with. Maybe we'll look it up. But he says a lot of things that I don't think these Scientologists want you to hear. It's pretty dark, says AMC. Yeah, well, because they were at a place that is a secure facility that that they couldn't leave. They weren't allowed to leave. By the way, Rudders, look at that. I call it Butters. I think most people call it Butters, but in Pennsylvania, which is no, because there's a Rudders down in West Virginia. Hey, Telescope, are you there? Telescope, I got a question for you. I can't remember. Does the Rudders in West Virginia sell spiked slushies? Just had a squirrel throw nuts at my windshield. He may have dropped them. Oh, door knocker. Well, good to hear things are getting back to normal. Rudders are on cows. No, those are udders, not rudders. Or have I been saying it wrong all my life? I see a lot of udders when I'm out. I am blown away by how many different types of cows there are. My favorite are the hairy cows. They're just cool looking. Anyway, so if you can find it's David Miscavige's father interview is how I think I found it once before, but fascinating. So anyway, so apparently Aaron Smith Levin here cheated on Jenna Miscavige, which caused quite a thing. And so Scott DOA, I don't, whatever. And then the other were carrying on and have been carrying on and attacking Aaron over this cheating allegation. And then Jenna Miscavige put out some videos. It's just like, it's drama. The stuff that honestly, I don't care two shits about. I find it funny watching, this group of people, hey, Billy Bob, watching this group of people sort of fall apart in their quest to make these wild accusations I still have never seen any evidence of. And that's all I'm saying. But so anyway, they started attacking when Aaron was accused of cheating on Jenna, which since then Jenna's apparently dropped all her videos and said, no, it didn't happen. I don't know what the deal is, but he lost about 12,000 subscribers, which is roughly what I would say the community of anti-Scientology protest stream watchers is. And so that kind of makes sense, right? And that group of people who follow that nonsense, even though his entire channel is about Scientology. But I wouldn't imagine that his 250,000 followers, I don't know. They don't seem to be watching DOA. They might be watching Nora. Nora has a pretty, what's Nora's following? What's up with Nora? Has 14,000 subscribers. So if I would argue that if growing up Scientology, well, even then that doesn't work, because my logic is if you got 250,000 followers and you're sharing and supporting other streamers that are, you know, carrying on about Scientology, they would build those other channels, right? Because typically that's what you do when you collaborate with other influencers. I really hate that term, by the way. When you collaborate with these people, that's what it is to build your channels and do these things. That I would think that like Nora would have had a bigger following. Now, Nora also, it's funny how leftists, especially these whack job leftists, they will use slurs that they wouldn't ever use in public. And like when Mina, when she is nasty and uses a slur, she's like, oh no, I didn't mean that. But she really did, because she said it and it was natural. It comes out. But then, I didn't mean it. Don't hold it against me. Scott does the same thing. Whatever. But the slurs this person's using is just priceless. But I'm not sharing it with you. But I just keep seeing the emails pop up, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, it's just too funny. I can't help it. I'm entertained by it. Her, him, whatever it is. But it's definitely a man or a woman. We know that now. Thank goodness. I'm sure that'll piss them off. Anyway. So with Aaron's 250,000, you'd think that Nora would have had, but Nora actually has pretty good, let me pull up one of her streams here. She actually has pretty good streaming ability. Let's see, ask me anything. Members only content. Oh, did it show that it was members only content? Let's see, her live. Where am I going? Oh, that was there. This one was not, this was like, she did this to answer back to something. I don't even remember. I don't even remember. But that's how I found that she has this other channel. Well, here, SPTV finale. I don't know what's up with Nora, but her production value is good, right? Like, I like to give credit to streamers who try and put together a decent stream, and I think she puts together a decent stream. She's got excellent audio, in fact, but she's got a nice Shure microphone. She's always got a background. She's kind of lit, you know. She's got a nice looking stream, and I've listened to her a couple times because, you know me, I'm curious. Oh. Well, thank you, AMC. Dan Rather interview. That's right. It was Dan Rather, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a good interview. And that's from what? The 80s? Because it was probably, I don't know when, I don't know when Miscavige took over. I don't know those dates, but just looking at the video, it was definitely dated. Anyway. So where was I? Yeah, 80s. Okay, good. So Nora does a good job, and so does he. He's got this nice set that he's built, and then he's got like an interview set up behind him, and technically he does a very good live stream. That's why he got that really sweet, you know, placard back there for, I don't know, 250. I don't know what that one is. But, and he creates content. But like he even talks about in this video, which is this one here. He talks about, let's see here, growing up Scientology. He talks about the fact that they're claiming that he buys views or buys subscribers, and they're all watching his subscriber count. And he even goes on and says, you know, he doesn't get huge views on, well, he's got 46,000 on Leah Remini tells ex-Scientologists to go and fuck yourselves. Well, yeah. And my guess is because these ex-Scientologists are telling tall tales about the people in Scientology, because even Leah Remini knows that Scientologists aren't bad people, but watch her documentary and understand what her issue is with. Please hold. Please hold. Who is Brian Thompson? Anybody know? Lurker. I appreciate that question. Wizzy, do you think your overview of Scientology is different than the SPs because you were an outside Scientologist? I'm guessing when you say outside, you mean public, because I was not in the Sea Org. Yes, definitely. Right. That doesn't mean that I don't know Sea Org members, have family that's Sea Org members. I wouldn't call them family. They're not my family. I know Sea Org members. And how do I put this politely? The claims that I hear Sea Org members make, Lara, Serge, and I don't know if Nora was Sea Org. I'm not positive if Lara was Sea Org. It doesn't. But the claims that they make are about the rules that are set. And the Sea Org member that I know, who was the youngest Sea Org member ever, he was the first, and the reason why they changed the rules that made it so you had to be 18 to join the Sea Org was because of him, apparently. And he had to leave the Sea Org because he got a girl pregnant. And you can't have a child in the Sea Org. You can't have children in the Sea Org because you have effectively committed your life to being a part of the church, right? As like a priest or a nun is the best way I can compare it. And that they don't have what it takes in order to deal with that, right? And so the rule is you can't have a baby and stay in the Sea Org. He had to leave the Sea Org. He didn't leave the church. He did have to repay what they refer to as freeloader debt, I think it was, they call it. Because while you're in the Sea Org, you spend your day, because like William Good always talks about how they work 70 hours and they get paid $49, whatever the claim is. That's stupid. They don't. They don't work 70 hours a day. They spend a lot of time at the church because they get up in the morning, they go to the church, they have whatever their duties are, whatever their not placement, assignment, whatever their role is, you know, whether you might be an auditor, you could work in food service, you could work in facilities maintenance, you work all kinds of, like, everybody there has a role, and however they come about deciding those rules, which I've never heard that story. I've never asked that question. I'd love to know. But so you have that job, but then you also have to go on course because that's part of your daily routine. We talked about this, and that how, you have to balance work, love, life, all of these things together to have happiness and have, a fulfilled life. Right. So that's what that is. They do long days, but it's not all work. They're not working, 12 hours a day, grinding away at whatever menial task they have. They are in and out of a course room. They're, working on themselves. They're exercising. It's a pretty decent life. A lot of them are very happy. And if you're not happy, then you got to go into auditing and checks and all these things to find out what's going on. Why are you not uptoned? So what is the Sea Org? The Sea Organization is, L. Ron Hubbard was a fan of the military and the Navy. And you'll hear the term org a lot in Scientology because it's the Sea Org, the organizational chart. What else do they use? Org. He was very big on briefs when, like when you got to do anything. In the military, you have these giant books, they're mil-spec books, that give you procedures on everything from what a hammer is supposed to be able to do and how you check it and test it and make sure. That's why a hammer costs $50,000 in the Navy, because that hammer has to work when that door's got to get open and blah, 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 all these things. So you have these military spec, everything from underwear, tampons, condoms, you name it, personal hygiene to anything that the military buys. There's a military spec, and L. Ron Hubbard kind of does the same thing. They talk about it with, how, what do they call it? Chalk tech. They call it wash tech. These anti-protesters, they make fun of it because he literally had a technical bulletin on everything that you would do because it was your job or whatnot, that broke down the elements and how to wash a car, for instance, how to clean a window. That's the kind of person they make L. Ron Hubbard out to be, is that he would create these tech bulletins. So the Sea Organization is a religious order for the Scientology religion and is composed of the singularly most dedicated Scientologists. Right? You got to be really dedicated. I got to be careful they don't get my email address. They already have. You have to be very dedicated to become a priest in the Catholic religion. You go to seminary, the same thing. And that's what this is. But they do it in the form of like it's a Navy, and they dress in sailor suits, and they have uniforms. The men wear blue suits and blue ties. They have different dress codes for different roles. And so that's what like William Good makes fun of. They're all dressed funny. They're dressed very professional. They're very professional uniforms, whatever, different assignments. Sometimes it's a blue sweater but you have a dress code so that the church and the religion and whatnot. I was always underdressed as a Scientologist, but you're when you're on course and you're in the course room, the person in charge, I can't even think of what they're called. Gosh, that's killing me. I've been out so long, like I've forgotten a lot of things. The supervisor, the classroom supervisor. You know, they're in blue pants, black dress shoes, white button down Oxford shirt, a little tie, and then their sweater. That's, you know, how they dress. That's the, you know, it's like working at McDonald's, right? Without being quite so goofy, I guess. But so yeah, so this is the Scientology website I pulled up. You know, you're gonna get the information, get it directly from them. Sea Organization motor vessel free winds. Yeah, this is the boat, and so you have to get trafficked to the Free Winds boat in order to do certain courses within Scientology, certain levels on the org chart. They have a good picture of the boat. Let's see. Here's the ship at sail. It's a big yacht, right? It's a cruise ship. I've heard it's lovely. I was never on it. I've known people that have been on it. And it is constantly at sail. So depending on when you go on course, but this is what their churches look like. You know, the churches all have different themes and whatnot. Mr. Trench says, what's the dress code for a live streamer? Today it's the blue hoodie, Trench. How are you? Hope you're doing well, keeping those roads free. I think they're freer than they've ever been, Mr. Trench. Congratulations. But yeah, always, you know, like, you may not like the style, but if you don't like the style, go to a different church, well, different Scientology church, because they're all different themes and different styles. And the one in Pasadena is a craftsman style. It's probably one of the coolest of their designed churches. It was also one of the newest ones too. Like Celebrity Center is very old and it's like Victorian and it's just like old Hollywood. And I'm like, I can't. It's just, it needs to be updated. But you know, there's a lot going on there, and it's like going to the Washington County Courthouse the other day. Actually, the Washington County Courthouse was in far worse shape. Anyway, okay. All right, you guys. I have to take a break. I need a 10-minute break. But yeah, look at that. That's shows off all their books and all the stuff that they make all the books themselves. I don't know if you guys know that, but they make all that stuff. They make all their videos. They have everything from media to, you know, publishing. Anyway, they do it all, not there, but in different places. But anyway, okay. I am going to take 5. I don't have music to play. I don't have something cool, but everybody count to 1,000 and we'll be back. All right. Hold tight. I'll be back. All right, we're back. We're back. I'm sorry, y'all. Forgot I had to take care of something. All right, who's still paying attention? Hands up. Oh, Brett Boyle back. Brett, how's the soon-to-be American? Just think, Brett, once you become an American, you can travel wherever you want to. I just mess with you, Brett. You know that. What is that? Like an old comedian trick where you throw back to something that, yeah, I know. I question the same thing, Brett. I don't know where that was going. And Trump's not going to make Canada the United States. But it is the Gulf of America. Anyway, so here's where we're at. Let me pull this back up. All right. So we're back at this. Should we keep the Scientology page available in case there's more? Maybe we should. So, oh no, Nora. You guys follow me so far? You kind of understand. I'm like trying to give you a little history lesson. But anyway, oh no, Nora. She has 2 channels. Or she's got more than that. She's got one where she does exercise. I did not go look at that page. Oh, did I dump the other page? No, here. So this is Nora. And the way this, so you'd have to watch the video. She spent the day talking about Aaron and all the upset. They're not getting along, right? So this is her channel. This is her latest video as of earlier, well, I guess last night. So Aaron in his stream here talks about, and you hopefully will get to the point where this makes sense to you. So he spent some time talking about the channel and the accusations that he's buying, and fine. Nobody gives a shit. But what he does that's really interesting is he's going to tell this story, and he slips that it's Nora that has called him. And this is discussing the truth and understanding how any of you can do this. The unicorn does it occasionally. And what she'll do is she'll come to me and go, "Hey, is this real?" I go, "I don't know. Let's see. I've been seeing X in social media all day as well. Let's take a minute and see if this accusation, whatever it is true." I like ChatGTP. I also like X has Grok, and you can just ask Grok anything. And Grok is pretty good about giving you. So what Grok's doing is it's pulling information from tweets and all over the place, and it's combining it into easy to understand breakdown of the question that you asked. So Aaron Smith-Levin here is going to tell a story, and I don't want to play the whole thing because he makes the story last a long time. I can too. But the story is about how Nora has reached out to him and said that they have evidence finally that Scientology is committing money fraud, and that in Portland or wherever she's talking about, they sold the building to someone else. They don't even own the building where this Scientology organization's at. And Aaron Smith-Levin is like into real estate, apparently. Maybe does some real estate down in Clearwater, Florida, where he lives, because he's a former Scientologist. He was in Clearwater for a long time. I guess maybe that's where his training was done. And he comes out to California and harasses people, veterans with dogs, and He's he's not a good guy. Anyway, not a good Scientologist by any means. And but he gets to this point where he's telling Nora, let's see here. Can you guys hear this okay?
The
Probably need that
Scientologists,
on there.
they then
Now you
turned
got the
around
audio, right?
and sold the building. So that's how they're double dipping. And I go, okay, that's not what double dipping
Yes,
means. Okay.
yes,
So
Phyllis.
you started out with money. You turned your money into real estate. By the way, there's a lot of fees involved in that. So that's not a great it's a great strategy if you want the real estate. It's not a great strategy if you're trying to grow that money quickly. So you take the money, you bought the real estate. Okay.
So this
less fees.
This story is about how people, when shown hard evidence that they still don't get it, they're so convinced that what they're saying is true. In this case, it's Nora claiming that this building that's owned by Scientology, that's not owned by Scientology, claiming that they sold it, is some sort of conspiracy, is easily disprovable because when he looks up the address and whatnot, it's a 10-story building that's this property address that is supposedly sold by Scientology. And he's pointing out to her, Nora, it's a 10-story building that you've sent me paperwork, but the building they're in is only 5 stories. Should end the conversation right there, but she's not going to understand that. And so this is him breaking it down.
And then you took the real estate and then you turned it back into money. And I'm like, so there's a new landlord? And she's like, no, Scientology got all their money back by selling the building and they're still collecting rent from the org. So that's how they're triple dipping. Okay. And then they're laundering the money because they took the building and then they turned it back into cash. And I go, okay, but I'm trying to understand, because if someone else bought the building.
And remember, I think it was Nora that told Scott that, yeah, the tunnels have been underneath the road from the old hospital at the Blue Building. And he's like not understanding, like, and she goes, yeah, I played in them as a kid. We would go down there and, it was creepy and weird because they hadn't been used and whatnot. And he's like, no, but I discovered them. She's like, no, you didn't discover anything because they've been there all along and everybody knows they're there because they were working tunnels back when it was a hospital. And hopefully you guys are understanding this, because this is really going to go to a much broader point as we carry on, because we're going to turn this into politics, which I found fascinating.
That would mean the new owner would want the rent. They would need the rent. Like nobody buys of the cash flow that asset was going to generate. So if you buy the building and the new landlord must be working together, Scientology is collecting the rent. And why would anybody do that though? I go like, I don't even understand how someone's getting away with anything here. It would be like the stupidest thing ever. Okay. You had money, you turned it into a building, you turned it back into money. And now you're just acting as a cutout between the Scientologist and the new landlord. This doesn't even make sense. Now, guys, at no point in me explaining how this does not make sense did it cause the other person to go, huh, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Huh. At no point did it cause her to go, let me double check this. Let me double check what my spouse.
Can you guess why she can't do that? Do you think maybe it's because they so want to believe that these people are evil that they're willing to overlook basic information because they're so hard up to prove their, what they're doing? I haven't watched a lot of Aaron's rants and his things about Scientology. He tends to make money off of any video, about Tom Cruise, Ashton Kutcher, all of these dots. They're all dot people. I truly have an issue with dot people. because things have been said about Aaron, which I'm sure aren't true either, and he knows they're not true, and he feels the brunt of that, those untruths. And so, but he does the same thing. Anybody that has been around my channel for a while knows that, or should know, that I've tried to practice quote unquote journalism as best I could. There were things during the convoy that we couldn't talk about, and I wasn't going to talk about on my channel until I knew and understood, verified, checked, made sure things were true and accurate before they were talked about. But these guys, they don't do that. They're looking for the gotcha. They're looking for whatever they can build content off of, because they want the clicks and views. They want these things to happen. And I get, Aaron's unhappy about Scientology. It's like, and I don't want to make a German reference here, but that's for some reason like where like the best example is, Aaron was the equivalent. Let me go another route. I'm trying to think of something else. Aaron was a part of Scientology that would have committed the same offenses they're claiming other people are committing, right? And the same quote unquote cover up. All of the people who, except for Leah Remini, because Leah Remini was basically a public Scientologist, celebrity, public. She wasn't involved with whatever the claims these guys are making. And Aaron's been called out for that because, like, Mike Rinder was part of OSER or whatever, he was a part of. I honestly, I don't even follow the Mike Rinder story. I know he just passed away, but he was an executive. He was a part of the people that they complain about in the cover-ups and hiding things, and, Danny Masterson. And so I don't know if Aaron's just overcompensating for whatever he did while he was in Scientology. But again, I can't find videos. I haven't seen videos where they really talk specifically about the claims, nor do they ever have any evidence of that. And so here, let's finish this up, and it'll get to the Nora part.
House is sending me before I keep insisting that this is true. Okay. And so then eventually I confronted her with the fact that these buildings have don't even have the same number of stories. Okay. And instead of going, uh-oh, maybe it's the wrong building, she goes, no. It's just like the Scientology middle management building on Hollywood and Ivar, where on one street, the entrance has one address, and on the side street, the entrance has a totally different address.
Am I the only one that hears like DOA logic in the story that Aaron's telling? But this wouldn't even be a conversation that would be had with Scott. It can't even get to this point. With Scott's even further out there than Nora. Nora's out there. She's more articulate as well. And also too, Aaron Smith-Levin, Nora, who else from this SPTV group? Oh, gosh, what's her name? Natalie. They're all actual former Scientologists, and you can hear it in the way they talk. They use the Scientology lingo. They can, better than I can, talk more about the training, the auditing and whatnot. But they do it in a way that they aren't really truthful about it. but let's keep going. It's almost done.
And I said, but hold on. I said, I'm not saying the buildings just have different addresses. I'm saying one building has like 10 stories and the other building has like 4 or 5 stories. They're not the same building. And she goes, yes, it is. My spouse will explain it to you. And I go, you can
Vicky, that's because conservatives don't think like brain dead liberals, right? We might go, oh, look, that's almost like a, not, you know, like, but nobody's going on social media. But what I did notice, Vicky, is that a lot of people have saved those moments and are throwing it back. AOC, they're all getting it thrown back at them. Like every single president, they all have been caught in that moment where they're doing the same exact thing. But that is the mental decline of Democrats. And people saw it. That is why Trump won an election. People are done with the nonsense and they don't get it. The AOCs, they don't get it. And all you had to do was watch the video. It's just another hoax. It's the fine people hoax all over again. See the whole thing. You understand the guy. They just hate so much that they can't, you know. And you'll see why this ties into Nora, because I think it's the same thing. Like, Nora's not
explain it all day long.
capable.
They're 2 different buildings. And she goes, no, my spouse will explain it to you. At no point did being confronted with the fact that these buildings have a different number of stories cause her to go, wait a second, maybe my wife made a mistake. Wait, maybe I presented this information to you without verifying it myself, because that's actually what happened.
She definitely is.
Nora,
without a doubt.
She was presented with a bunch of
never been a
information
question about
that she thought was scandalous, did not make sure that any of it actually made sense to her first, and then presented it to me like it was blowing the whole lid off of Scientology's entire operation. So then when I'm confronting her with the inconsistencies and the discrepancies, at no point does she go, oh, let me double check this and I'll get back to you. The entire conversation was her insisting this was true, insisting this was true, insisting this was true. Okay.
It's rare that I believe.
So I basically eventually had to be like,
Aaron Smith,
you know, listen, if you don't have like a deed of sale or you know, a deed, a contract, I don't know, loan documents, something. I said, if all you have is a website with a list of properties and the property has a different address and is a different building, do you see how there's not really much for us to discuss here? At no point in the conversation did she ever go, you're right, it looks like there might be a problem here. She was like, you know what, my spouse will send it all to you and you can look at it all in the morning.
So he's even got the cup.
Okay.
Why
am I telling this story?
Person. Which is really funny, because, you know, they talk about what he did to Jenna Miscavige and his wife and cheating and his battery on women and, you know, the things that have been documented. He truly is a suppressive person in all terms, right? So to me, he's not a good Scientologist. Now, he's been on Scientology for a while. I don't know how long, but yeah. So you got that point. Now we're going to go over here to Oh No Nora. Oh No Merica? Where's here? I've totally forgotten if there was something.
6 GOP. Who the fuck is that?
No, it was talking about
is
money.
Right on the heels.
She's kind of
Zero Dark Tony's case being moved to a trial. Right, had to move courts. A lot of stuff was going to come out on that. Somehow Streets isn't supporting Solomon anymore, which is a very big mystery to me. When he was standing outside the courthouse during the first restraining order that Solomon got, just like,
and
look
I
at
know
this
you
kid,
guys
he
aren't
did it
really
all by
following
himself.
along, which I'm glad you're not.
Then, number 3, We have the Jane Doe case.
But remember,
Jane Doe versus
basic
Gavin
principles,
Potter
basic things, basic
and
facts.
David Miscavige, which they are desperately trying to get everybody to forget about. That David Miscavige is a named party in a Jane Doe case. And if you guys aren't familiar, the Jane Doe case specifically deals with the fact that Gavin Potter, who was Scientology's biggest and best recruiter on planet Earth, okay,
which also
seduced
they get
and
money
raped
when they
I believe,
recruit
15-year-old. I can't remember
members.
if she was 14 or 15. Either way, she was a minor.
Basically,
Became impregnated after their continuous contact, which was brushed under the rug by everybody, even though he was a Sea Org member and she was, not at the time yet. He was recruiting her. Okay.
now what do you think? If she's so confident about a building, like how confident is she about this? I don't know, because they never they talk about it and they make these claims, and who knows what the truth is. But anyway, so she goes on. There's nothing. I'm trying to remember. There might have been something in here. I don't remember. She yells at her kid and her kid's headphones and whatnot. So she talks at one point about how she has this No Merica channel. And so I was like, okay, I bite. And so this was her stream from one day ago, yesterday.
And my Lord.
And so she...
To avert meant, that's not what
she talked about this. And I knew right away she is the hoax believer. Let's see here. And she
does anyone else find that odd? He's swearing an oath. When you go to court and all these other things, you can swear on whatever you want, right? But he has.
How many of you have heard this story? Do you guys know what actually happened here? Why? Let's see. why ZDT does Zoom for court? Because they have threats to follow him home. Yeah. And because you can, right? He is, he's talked about it for a while. He has some health problems and is waiting brain surgery, I think is what he said. But he rides the motorcycle. So I wouldn't go to that courthouse if I didn't have to. I'd do Zoom too. Side note. Scott shows up for court this morning, does like a 30-minute live stream. And he brags about the fact that he hasn't brought anything with him. He's free. He's just going to hang out. Well, he has been trying to use lawfare and get a restraining order against a person who hasn't done anything to him. But he's trying to pull a restraining order on ZDT because he doesn't like the things that ZDT says on his live stream. Go fuck yourself, Scott. Can't take it. You do it. Okay. So anyway, so he's got to go to court for that. He thought it was just, what was the term he used? He thought it was just a quick thing, and he didn't go prepared. Well, apparently he comes back a couple hours later, or whatever it was, and he's all bummed out because apparently there was more to that court, and that it was arbitration, and that he thought it was just the arbitration moment, but then it was, nope, present your evidence, and he's got nothing. He's not prepared, and he's like such a professional. He didn't show up to court ready to do anything. And so I'm sure we'll hear more about that. But didn't tell Trump to put the hand on the Bible. It's there. No. So apparently, he's supposed to be sworn in at noon. And this was like 5 minutes after noon. And I believe you can see it in the live stream on Donald J. Trump. It was just a formality that was missed. And It was after he was. There was technically no president for what, 5 minutes, right? If that were the case, in some formal way, there was probably no president for those 5 minutes, or maybe it's Biden is still president until noon. And then what, they cut the umbilical, and then Trump's sworn in simultaneously, and, or for, 5 minutes there he was without, but whatever. You think it's really going to change how he feels about this country and the people and what he's getting ready to do? No. But, Nora's going to have a problem.
Two
with
Bibles
it.
there
She's
that
like the
Spy
rest of the
versus
hoax
Spy,
believers.
aka Melania, is holding for him.
She calls her
And he
spy
just-
versus spy. Let's just remind you, the woman in the top left corner is cutting down probably one of the most beautiful women in this country, who's now the first lady. But she didn't like the outfit. But it's funny that she went with spy versus spy, because when I saw it, I thought spy versus spy. And somebody's like, oh no, it's V for vengeance. I'm like, oh, you're right, it is. And then somebody the other day on the stream was like, no, it's Carmen Sandiego. It's still an awesome look. And it's gutsy, and she's always been, Miss Fashion, and she doesn't deserve the shit she gets. But this person up here with the super sweet hat collection and the toys, the children's toys behind her, is going to, try to cut suppressive person. This is the example of the suppressive person. I should probably put it back up there. Where is it? Oh, I gotta hit the button. Suppressive person right here. This top left corner. That's a suppressive person cutting down the beauty and the fashion of the First Lady of the United States, because she ain't having it.
He just left his left arm down there. Just, what's up,
Okay.
Suzanne?
Okay.
Like, as in
So
him
we'll get
out.
past that, because that wasn't the
Yeah.
good stuff.
It's not even Muslim. With
So
Love her.
she
I love
loves
her.
this little
Activate.
video clip.
this is
She thinks
Hey, guys,
she's like,
that's-
doesn't like religion.
know what happened.
So here she is talking about Elon Musk. So this was after the inauguration, right? And this is part of the celebration
so
and
pumped up
events
right
that were
now.
going on at the
In the
Capital
Capitol.
One Arena.
Here he goes. But hang on, but that's not good enough.
This
hear
is
her?
what victory feels like. Yeah!
Couldn't even comb his hair. Look at his hair. Couldn't even comb it.
And this was no
It looks combed to me. Does it not look like? Remember, she so badly wants to find fault in things that people do, religion does, politics. She's looking very hard to be suppressive, right? She has a community that she probably wouldn't be suppressive towards, and she talks about that at some point. We're not going to play this entire video. You guys can go watch this on your own. But I do appreciate her putting the disclaimer down here at the bottom. So make sure you pay attention to that disclaimer, because we're taking full advantage of it.
ordinary victory.
Yeah.
This was a fork
Oh,
in
I
the
see.
road.
Yeah, he's got a little
of
something
human
on the back of his head.
civilization.
And he doesn't
Right.
know it.
Okay. This
He's got a little ducktail.
There's a fork in the road of human civilization.
Yep. Because Nora doesn't understand what that means.
I just want you guys
doesn't
to
understand
just to
why.
take in
Remember, ask the why.
the not so subtle
Find it.
Nazi references that are being made here.
You know,
She doesn't
there
like
are
to use
elections
that either.
elections that come and
But
go.
she's going
Some
to.
elections are, you know, important. Some are not. But this one, this one really mattered. And
Yeah,
I just
really
want to
mattered.
say thank you
It did really
for
matter.
making it happen. Thank you.
It absolutely did matter.
Okay.
See, she cuts it. She
Thank
doesn't
you for
play it
making it
through.
happen. This one really mattered. And then what's
Here.
that thing he does? Guys,
He's autistic.
Why the
He's awkward. Remember that.
what the fuck is that?
Dude, she's
That's not
seething.
subtle. That's not a mistake.
She's losing it.
What was that lady who did the same thing last time at the RNC?
Did any of you see the breakdown of 135 degrees? Because apparently that's the real salute. Is it's got to be above 135 degrees. He was only approximately 100 and something degrees, 110 degrees or something like that. But you get it. It's like they're hard up to tear down, and they're not happy right now. And we'll fast forward here because
guys, I want to go back to the Elon.
so they're hang on, we get here.
Of the federal government.
So
By authority
where did-
vested in me as president of the Constitution,
the White House
by the
website.
Constitution and the laws of the.
So what she's going to do is she's going to go through some of the executive orders, and when I heard the Aaron Smith, because I tuned into Aaron when I saw he was live, like I don't even subscribe to him, which is funny, but he comes up in my algorithm because I watch all this Scientology bullshit. But I popped him on my way home today, and was listening, and he was talking about the subscribers at first, and yeah, I tried to make some snarky comment about why does this matter, and I realized, oh yeah, I'm blocked. You can't see my comment. So, but when he broke into the story about the building and then dropped Nora's name in the story, and you could hear that he's like, oh shit, I didn't mean to say that. Because he was trying to keep it anonymous about who he was talking about, but maybe he did it intentionally, possibly. You know, a very underhanded attack on Nora. But I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense, and it really tied in what I had watched in the previous video from last night of her on her Anti-Scientology channel to this, which she kind of pushed in her other channel, saying that she had this political, if you want to talk about politics, come over to my other channel. And so I did, and I'm listening, and I'm driving around, and I don't need to see the screen, right? To know what she's doing, because you'll hear her and how she skips over the facts and the reason why these executive orders are there. And what they're for. And that's
United States
that's
of
where
America and section.
That's where I'm like, okay, this one tells me everything I need to know about Nora, because she's left wing, Democrat, whatever, it doesn't matter. She's left wing. She believes the hoaxes, and if she can't be honest about clearly things that I understand, she can't be honest about the other things. There's a credibility issue with Nora that I think just kind of blows up in this. And I'm hopefully you see it.
301 of Title III, United States Code. It is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1. And guys, I did provide a link to this. Yeah. Purpose. The American people have witnessed the previous administration engage in a systematic campaign against its perceived political opponents, weaponizing the legal force of numerous federal law enforcement agencies and the intelligence community against perceived political opponents, like, Trump going on trial for actual crimes, in the form of investigations, prosecutions, civil enforcement actions, and other related actions. These actions appear oriented more toward inflicting political pain than toward pursuing actual justice or legitimate governmental objectives.
She's not reading from this
preventing a felon and a rapist from coming into power. Definitely illegitimate. Absolutely. Many of these activities appear to be inconsistent with the Constitution. Actually, I think the founding fathers would have tossed you out of this country summarily, sir, decades ago.
Okay, we're gonna get
Including those activities directed at parents protesting at school board meetings, Americans who spoke out against the previous administration's actions, and other Americans who were simply exercising constitutionally protected rights. That is a dog whistle to his J6 homies.
So he's calling it she's calling it a dog whistle. She's making up words. Oh, I should really make some notes for myself because that would be helpful. As soon as I figure out how to do hands-free note-taking, I will definitely do that. A huge part of Scientology is called word clearing. By raise of hands, do you know what word clearing means? And do you think that you might do this on a regular basis yourself? Word clearing. Or a thumbs down because you've never heard this before and you don't think you clear words. Docs and Grandma's just going to do it old school. Nope. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. See, for Scientology to work, you have to clearly understand everything that you read. From the definition of the letter A bird, a plane. What does A mean? What does as mean? Any word that you read or come across that you don't know the answer to or know the meaning of, you would word clear it by looking it up in the dictionary, then using it in sentences to get to learn those words and make sure you have a clear understanding. Because at some point here, she's going to have a little trouble with the words America and first. And we'll get there. Nora's a Scientologist, a former Scientologist. What she claims is a cult, right? Title of today's stream, Scientology cultist doesn't realize she's still in a cult. And it's not the cult of Scientology. It's the cult of leftism. The cult tells you what to believe. The cult tells you what you can hear, what you can read. And so that's what she does here. She does exactly what the cult of the left tells her. She believes the hoaxes. She believes the lies. She believes in Project 2024 document, right? She believes all of these things are going to happen, that, there's going to be this death on the street and there's, all hell's breaking loose. So when she reads about the EO,
we're going to get to them
securing the border.
The prior administration
world read it all. She can't do it because it gives too many definitions and meanings of what is intended and why it's a problem and why it needs to be addressed.
This order. So
let's see. Let me skip ahead. And again, you can go back and watch this. I think you should all give Nora a watch and hear how she, goes about this.
The date of this order, each agency had with authority to appoint members to the board of the geographic name boards shall review their respective appointees and consider replacing those appointees in accordance with applicable law. Secretary of the Interior shall review and consider additional appointments, blah, blah, with respect to all applications for naming and renaming submitted to the newly constituted board.
It's where she
the board
does
shall
blah,
advance
blah, blah,
policy
blah, blah,
established in Section 1.
That she doesn't care about facts.
To honor the contributions of visionary, patriotic Americans,
right?
And may update its principles, policies, and procedures as needed
because you don't want to hear them.
Where congressional action is required to establish a renaming in public law, following board approval on renaming, the board shall provide guidance to all relevant federal agencies to use the board-approved name in the interim
Such
in
as
federal
criticism,
documents and achieve consistency
comment,
across the
news
federal
reporting,
government.
teaching, scholarship,
Renaming
education,
of Mount
and research.
McKinley.
Yeah, she
President
doesn't
William
like
McKinley, the
this one at all.
25th president of the United States, heroically
She does
led our
not like
nation to
this at
victory
all.
in the Spanish-American
This
War.
one caught me off guard too. I did not
Right, where we conquered
I did not see this coming. But I had to do a little research. I had to look into it. I understand it.
Mexico, and we fucking took California and Texas from them. Hero.
Right. You may not like history, but it is history, right? And you know, I don't want to read into what her purpose of doing this political stream is. It's not very popular. I'm sorry, but it does look nice. She got nice borders and stuff. She uses Ecamm like I used to use. I think that's what she does. I think she's on Mac and some Ecamm stuff.
Under his leadership, the United States enjoyed rapid economic growth and prosperity, including expansion of territorial gains for the nation. President McKinley championed tariffs to protect the U.S. manufacturing, boost domestic production, and drive U.S. industrials.
Apparently, she's triggered by tariffs and that they've been used for a really long time.
And global reach to new heights. He was tragically assassinated in an attack on our nation's values and our success, and he should be honored for his steadfast commitment to American greatness. In 1917, the country officially honored President McKinley through the naming of the North America's highest peak. Yet, after nearly a century, President Obama's administration in 2015 stripped the McKinley name from the federal nomenclature, an affront to President McKinley's life.
Christina, you say the word and he's gone. You're not going to come in here and harass people. Let's see who this is. Let's see. Go to channel. Appears to be created in 2023. Shorts? Singing right now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you know what? We're just, Christina, thank you. We're just going to get rid of that person. Did somebody already get rid of him? Okay. All right, that's taken care of. I'm sorry, y'all. Ah, shoot, I lost my... Where'd it go? No. Why did I lose that? When I clicked on something here, I lost my other window. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's cool. I can do that, but I can't do that. Okay. It was in a panel. I didn't realize it was inside.
Actually, no. They renamed it Denali, which
right,
was the original name.
Here.
Officially renamed the U.S. action. Okay. And specially designating
cartels and other
terrorists.
organizations
Okay.
as global terrorists.
Uh-huh.
Because I was curious
Creates
whether
a
she was
process
going
by
to
which
agree
certain
with
international cartels and other organizations will be designated as foreign terrorist organizations, consistent, especially
like it's interesting to see who disagrees with this. And there was a New York Times article that how designating them terrorists was going to hurt our economy.
With that.
Really?
Convergence between themselves and a range of extra hemispheric actors.
It's such a strange headline.
You know, Trump did not write that. From designated foreign terror organizations.
Oh, that's another, like, just, it makes my brain hurt just a little bit. Throw a hand up if you think Trump is actually writing every word and every, like, is it just me? I'm like, it just drains the life out of me when I hear these nitpicking twats. I don't know how else to describe them. Like, tell me, just tell me what you don't like about this executive order. Thank you, Toxic Grandma. I needed that. I needed that. What's your question? Why do people care what other people believe in, such as Scientology? Why do they protest it? What is their concern with it? That's a really good question. I think to a certain extent, and this is speculative at best, and I say this for a couple reasons. They've had something happen, a disconnect with something that they believed in for a really long time. I was only there, I think, maybe 5 years. I've been out for 10. I've been out way longer than I was ever in. And I wasn't like hardcore, but it was a thing I did. I gave it a shot, we'll call it. But I know Nora was in it for a long time. I know Lara was in it for a long time. I know Aaron Smith-Levin was in it for a long time. Most of the anti-people weren't in it. They take the little bits and pieces that Nora drops and Lara drops and whatnot, and they repeat it. But every time they repeat it, the snowball gets a little bit bigger and a little bigger, and before you know it, I somehow invented Scientology, and I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. She is benefiting off of carrying on about this. It appears she has made or is making a living live streaming about Scientology. I don't see how, but again, like, I try to think about why, like, they would be so offended when I ask the questions that I do. Like, I don't even know what my question was when I went into Nora's chat. I wonder if I could find it. Let me do a quick search here and see, because I didn't think about this. You can search pictures for text. Let's see here. Only 1 hour. Nora, let's see what I get here. From July 6th. Zero Dark Tony says, gotta say, Nora wrecked DOA last night. DOA, who has given minors alcohol to interview them, harass and threaten the elderly, and dozens of women illegally recording and violating families' privacy on holiday. Where's the Nora part? That came up as Nora. Let's see here. I don't know that I have that. Who's this streamer? Oh, Lindsay Villandre. I guess that's Aaron Smith-Levin's ex-wife. She goes on live streams about. See, like they would make these flyers about all the live streamers. Free DOA, Tales of Cult Horror. Tales. I can't even see that. Oh, maybe if I make it big screen. That would help. Here. Tales of cult horror. So like those were all live streamers. Liz Gale, Mike Brown, literally Serge. Oh no, Nora. Jacob Harkley. Natalie Webster, ex Sea Org. And they were littering the city with all that crap. Apparently Nora Swisher got 4 days in jail. Today, 6 ordinary people were sentenced to jail for nonviolent protests, demanding POTUS declare a climate emergency and end extraction on federal and indigenous lands. When was that? December 15th, 2022. I love when they cry when they get in trouble. Because isn't that how it works now? No, I don't have it. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what I would have said other than questioning, like just asking for, like the claim you make. What are the specifics? That's what it was. I would do this quite normally. How did they traffic children? Was my question. I don't think that's trollish. But if you're going to go onto a live stream and make a claim about people, I would think that if somebody said, hey, how did they do that? That you would be able to go, well, this is how it happens. This is what this trafficking looks like. Because they would often say trafficking as Scientologists were loading up at one of the buildings on Hollywood Boulevard and getting into a bus. They'd be, there's the trafficking. There's the traveling. I get. Trafficking, I don't get. So please help me understand. And I would get blocked instantly. Instantly timed out, banned, blocked, all of the above. Because trust me, I tried to go back and go in. And, the trick is you switch it from top to all, and you can see if your message is there, you're blocked, or you're not blocked. If your message is gone, you're blocked or banned. But when you got timed out because it tells you you're timed out. But yeah, so they can't. Can we prove the auditing? I can prove the auditing. Everybody gets audited in Scientology. Auditing is what is Scientology. What do you call it? What was the book that they used to sell on TV? It's Dianetics. Dianetics has auditing as well. Dianetics auditing is actually really interesting. You want to have some fun? I don't know that we can do this as a group. But you can try it on your own at home. It's real simple. It's dangerous, so don't go crazy. You can test it on yourself. Once we're done with this live stream, think of a happy moment in your life from when you were a child. Something, a birthday party, something, that you remember as being a really, wonderful time in your life, a memorable, happy time. Goat, I will. And this is sort of it. It's not. This is a process, a bit of auditing. So normally you would do this with an auditor asking you this question and running you through this auditing session, trying to remember your past, right? And so you think of that happy moment, and then what you're going to do is you're going to start describing that moment. Start from the very beginning, and you tell the person across from you everything you can remember. Everything. Describe the scene, describe the smells, describe everything you can possibly remember. And then once you get to the end of that, you know, the day ended, went home, you know, rode in the car, whatever, but that moment, wherever the end is for you, that's the end. Then you do it over again. And you tell it all from the very beginning. But what you'll notice, what your auditor will notice, is that you're going to add details every time you tell the story because your mind is remembering, right? And you'll tell more details. You might actually even remember the smells of the cake or the whatever was going on, whatever that moment is for you. I don't know. That is auditing. It's a way of sort of remembering. It can be good things. It can be bad things. With bad things, the concept is ultimately is that you're going to talk about this moment that has had this effect on you, and you're going to talk about that happening, and you're going to do it over and over again. And hopefully, the hope is that as you talk about it and you remember more and more pieces, that you get to the point where you tell the story with less emotion. You may remember some detail that sort of sets you free, I guess is the way to put it. Basic terms. It's a way of getting past, you know, these really tough moments in our lives, and that's basic Dianetics auditing. But you know, there's different types of auditing for different things, but they're all sort of auditing in a way. A touch assist is, I would argue, a form of auditing. Touch assists work really good on kids, and you'll see parents do this, and they don't realize it's Scientology they're doing. I mean, you have a child who's upset, and they're crying. You can't get them to calm down. You're holding them in your arms, and you pick something out. You go, here, touch this. And the kid, like, just, they're going to cry, but they touch that. And then it's a distraction in a technique, basically. But it works amazing on kids. I mean, and, you know, it's sort of a game, but it's a form of auditing that you do on children, and it helps them to get over these upsets, whatever that upset is. And then, you know, once that's all done, you can maybe, you know, talk to them about why they were upset or, you know, whatnot. But, you know, Scientology is really interesting because what I experienced is, you know, whether it was L. Ron Hubbard who created this stuff or where, you know, like he pulled from different religions, he combined the things that worked, kind of like Elon Musk in a way, right? If he found something that worked, he implemented it and tested it, and, you know, he had these systems of, you know, and he took all the different religions and therapies and whatnot, and, you know, there's a lot of Buddhism, there's, you know, people say you can pick out all this stuff, and if you really know what you're looking for. I think even Telescope talked about that. And certain things just work. I don't know what to tell you. I personally am skeptic of a lot of things. Like, I still don't believe in psychics. I'm open-minded. I don't believe in psychics. I see right through that bullshit in a heartbeat. But yeah, that's just me. But you know, wherever you're at, it's one of the things. I have seen Scientology help people. I have seen people who were sort of, like I probably was more of an introvert before Scientology. Scientology might have pulled me out of, I would attribute Scientology to helping me be here in front of you, in front of a camera, because I would have never, there's not a lot of pictures of me. I don't like having my picture. I didn't like having my picture taken. I didn't like being in front of a camera. I worked in Hollywood all those years behind the camera. I didn't want to be on camera. You don't need to see me. I don't want to stand in front of the camera. I don't want to be a stand-in. I like behind the camera. That's my spot. And, Scientology, I think, opened me up a little bit. However it did that. I don't know exactly what training in Scientology might have helped that, but it forces you out of your comfort zone a little bit, especially the training routines, the TTRs they call them, the basic communication skills, right? Things that everybody can benefit from. If you are really anti-Scientology, but you did just the TRs and learn how to sit across from somebody that you don't know, look them in the eye, and just be there. It's an amazing skill because there's so many people who cannot make eye contact with you on a daily basis. They'll look away. You're now going to notice that, by the way. You will definitely notice everybody who cannot look you in the eye now. You get people at work, when they talk to you, they're distracted. Those are the things that putting in your TRs, as Noah would call it, Nora would call it, and Laura and whatnot, are basic things, right? How could anybody not survive life better? Being able to clearly communicate, express an idea. I'm not the best communicator, by the way. I'm working on it. I've always worked on it. But the little twitches and things, the Elon Hubbard claims he can cure, not cure, but fix Tourette's, right? Twitches, things like that. He had systems for for dealing with that. A lot of these mental conditions and things, he felt were could be audited out of you, could be dealt with to fix that. Mental disease didn't require drugs. It just, required following his tech and these were all tested things, the claims, and because there's like films of him and audio recordings, and he documented all this stuff. So it's like, which, by the way, Scientology claims that they're not there to tell you what to believe. You have to find what's true for you and whether it's true, right? You look up at the sky. Is the sky blue? Yeah, the sky's blue. Right? We agree. So they definitely use that, until you get to the Leah Remini point, and the aliens go, that's fucking weird shit, right? Like, I don't think I would have ever made it to that point where I would have gone, no, ain't gonna do it. But maybe there's more to that. I don't know. I trust. The one person that I trust when she talks about that in her documentary is Leah. Like, that's the one thing. Because I know she wouldn't have said that if it were not true. She's definitely the one person that I would believe about that. But the whole Xenu thing, right? So yeah, Scientology is not a traditional religion. I forget who that was that asked. Oh, but you asked. Well, I think, Christina, I think all religion is a guide for life, right? You know, it sets a moral compass, right? Because there's nothing in Scientology that says you're going to, you know, do something evil. You know, it's very much high moral. That's why the Danny Masterson thing is so weird to me, because automatically I discredit him as a Scientologist, because the moral teachings and the basic morality of Scientologists, that shouldn't have happened, right? So, and again, I don't know the details. I don't know the evidence. The claim is that Scientology covered it up. But I also, because I understand Scientology, and it who is it? It's the well, like, you know, mafia law or cartel law, right? They handle it. They deal with enforcing law. Like, you'd almost rather have the Policia, the Federales, take you and put you in prison rather than to have the cartels deal with you, right? And I think of it the same way with Scientology, right? Because it's overwhelming to think of what you would have to go through and spend, and to audit and correct and make, you know, amends for what you did. You know, the fact that he wasn't kicked out, like, but also too is it's that forgiveness thing, right? But Scientology doesn't have forgiveness in the same way, you know, and they're also not a court of law. They're not lawyers. Well, they are lawyers, but not in the same sense. And it's not litigated in the same way, you know, but Scientology has their way of dealing with things. Again, you may not like how they deal with things. That's the belief system, I guess. Just like the Catholic Church, you know, they just move the pedophile priests around. They don't throw them in the oven. So I don't get that either. You know, within any group where there's more than two people, you're always going to have a bad apple. Scott's the bad apple of that group, but there's actually a couple of bad apples. But the others I don't think are bad apples, misguided. But you know, are we done with Nora? I'll show you something else. I'll show you. Let's see here. I think it was on this one. This all makes sense in a second, because it's this claim that was made. So 3 hours ago. No, it must have been on the other one. I don't think it's that one. 3 hours, because it would have been this morning. I don't like the interface. I don't like the interface of. Oh, come on! Oh, I gotta push that button. I don't like the interface of YouTube on the web. I guess the way things show up, they don't. Because normally I'd have subscriptions on the left side. Oh, they're there. But they're not in the same order. Like on my phone, the app does a better job. And I use the app so much that I guess I'm just sort of accustomed to it. I can't, you know, like, Gotta find what I'm looking for here. Do I not? I don't know. What is it? See, and again, it's like the way it comes up. What's it called? I'm such a bad YouTuber. I don't even know. Oh, my bad. That's why. Because you can have two different names. You can have two different names for your channel. Oh yeah, it's exposing bad actors. 5 hours ago. So this one here. Let's watch this. Sound check.
She literally gave us a couple $100.
Sir, that's fine. If you don't,
We both have our own different styles, and that's okay.
sir, that's fine. If you don't like her, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we need to be open about everything. You can't fucking sit on shit. Just be open about it. If there's any weird issue of you talking to somebody else about something and not telling everybody, having really fucking lying.
And we both have our own different styles, and that's okay. And I want to say something. I want to toot my whistle a little bit.
Toot my horn. Watch.
That in DC, when I got into Andrew Callahan's Channel 5 stream, I interrupted his interview. His video's at 1.6 million views. No, I know. I'm just let me. I'm getting there, babe.
EFO, thank you very much. That is extremely generous. I appreciate that. So are you promoting the Scientology or questioning the subjects of the beliefs, the belief in? I am not promoting Scientology. What I'm promoting is the truth. The accurate claims, I guess. EFO, long story short, Scott left Florida. Scott and I have known each other since before the convoy. Well, since the convoy in Arizona is where he joined in. I had left California. Anyway. So since the truckers convoy, I've known Scott. I knew Scott because he was there following the convoy. After he left the People's Convoy, he went home, and a month later he showed back up, upset with me, and started live streaming and dragging me through the mud for a number of different false accusations. And then so that's where that sort of begins with Scott and my experience with Scott. And eventually Scott went off and protested another group, which he's going to talk about here in a second, in his claim of shutting down a group of people, which he did not do. They were falling apart well before Scott had anything to do with it. So, but 10 years ago, I was in Scientology for about 5 years. And so I have a little bit of experience with Scientology. I've seen something very different than what these anti-Scientologist protesters claim. They claim child trafficking. They claim abuse of children. And their claim of abusing children is what they believe is children auditing adults. And we talked about this Tuesday, is it takes a lot to be an auditor. And you would have to spend years auditing, training to be an auditor before you would ever be given the opportunity to audit an adult for a number of reasons. And then different types of, well, there's auditing has specific questions based on what's being audited, right? So their claim is that, I don't want to get my channel shut down. Grown men are being audited by children and being asked about sexually explicit things. And that's just not true. Because one, the questions are predetermined in Scientology. There are things that come out in Scientology auditing, but you wouldn't have a child auditing an adult. Children, when you're on course and you're going up the bridge, you do that with a twin, a partner, someone your own age, typically your own gender. Typically, it's rare to have, like when I was in Scientology and on course and going up the bridge, I had a twin that was younger than I was, an adult. He was maybe, because it's the selection pool isn't huge. You've got to find somebody who has a similar schedule to you, work-wise, whatever you're doing. You need to find somebody that, because you commit to going in and doing these things. You've paid for it. You've paid money to go have these services done. So you want to do them. You need to do them in a timely fashion in order to finish them. The training doesn't work if you go in for an hour and then you don't come back for a month. It doesn't work that way. So you work your way up the bridge doing these courses and learning. And so it's book study, and then it's practical exercises that you do. And so you always do that with a twin. And some people can twin all the way up through Scientology. Rare, but it happens. Most people have several twins that they had twinned with throughout their time. While I was at CC, which is the Celebrity Center, I remember having about 3 twins over that time period. And sometimes you don't click with a twin. You don't learn at the same pace, right? I guess that's the best way to describe it is you may be slower than somebody else. You may be faster than somebody else. They may flake on you a bunch of times. You go, I can't do this. I set aside this time to come in and do this, and they're not showing up, and I want to find another twin. So your supervisor, they will help you find a twin. And so that's what that is. Kids in Scientology at CC, they have another child twin with them. So they're working at their pace. Typically, they're doing training routines. They're sitting across from each other. They're reading. You read Alice in Wonderland as one of the things. You open up the Alice in Wonderland book. It's a beautiful old Alice in Wonderland. It's been handled by 1 billion people. And you find a selection of dialogue, a statement. Alice, I'm going this way to the tree. And you say that to the person across from you, and you say it clearly without stuttering, without, pausing. And you should be able to say it clearly and concisely without misunderstanding. And the person will go, fail, pass, whatever. If you did it well, if you failed, you try it again, right? Find another phrase. And you go through this over and over again, because what you're looking to do is sit there across from somebody else, communicate clearly without tics and distractions and, looking around. You've already done that. You've already gone past that point where you've done that training routine where you can just sit and look and, not fall asleep. Hard as hell to do. Trust me, I sat in a chair for hours staring at people. But eventually you can sit there and almost communicate with somebody and not get tired and drowsy and want to fall asleep. Because when it's work, and it's hard to do. You tend to like, you hear a slam on the table and you can't do that. You gotta stay focused. You're eyeball to eyeball. Like I got two lenses I'm looking at here, but that's the eyeballs, and that's what that means. That's what that is. And so when they talk about Scientology, because I have a little bit of mass on the subject, Scientologists would say, I know they're not being honest with you. They're not telling you the whole story. The why, right? The why. Because everything in Scientology is documented. Aliens, it's a cult. Well, you can call it a cult. I would have never joined a cult. Honestly, the religious group that I was hanging out with at Arizona State years ago, when I was in college, I might have been more of a cult. But I was curious. They were a little too Bible thumping, praising Jesus. No, it wasn't my thing. It's not my, but I would never join a cult. I would never. Would I go check out a cult because I was curious? Yeah, I did. I definitely did. Would I call them a cult? No. Yes, they believe in L. Ron Hubbard, and it's sort of the way, like I said, I believe in Elon Musk. And I think that, some people think different. I'm also in the cult of Apple and not Tim Cook. I think, I can't even think of his name right this second off the top of my head, which is awful. I'm not a good cultist. Right? It's twin rather than partner. But you partner up. But L. Ron Hubbard created a word for everything, but he also used fully the traditional term based on the dictionary and in the English language and whatnot, and that's documented as well. So, Scientology tech is taught in a lot of schools because it works to help children learn well and learn faster. You won't know it's Scientology, but that's what it is. Now, maybe Scientology didn't have it first. Maybe some scholar did it, but L. Ron Hubbard pulled that in, combined that, and it works. What do you call it? Yes, I believe in Elon Musk. Weird association to be making right now, and choice of support given everything going on. Broccoli, are you really fucking falling for that hoax? Remember, he's on the spectrum. He's autistic, formerly known as, what did they call that? Yeah, I can't remember. Socially awkward. Genius. The man is ecstatic. He's ecstatic that Trump won. He's given his heart to the people that supported Trump because they saw the decline of this country and the decline of your country, frankly, in Canada. And that's why your prime minister, Justin Trudeau, is on his way out the door and quit, right? Because they all see it. Their bullshit isn't going to keep going. It's over. The adults have taken over, Broccoli. I hope you're ready for the adults in the room. So, and I hope that you also have the freedom to share your beliefs and do your thing. But, yeah, Frosty, Brett Boyle, you're not going to convince me. He is not a Nazi. He is not a supporting Nazi. It's insane. You are insane. You're making things up, It's complete nonsense. And I can show you 50 fucking Democrats that have done the same exact thing. Tim Walz being the most recent. So go the fuck away. It's absolutely incredible that you morons want to change the world for people to be like you. Seriously? You and Nora, dumb shit Nora, and she's not dumb, but she believes all the bullshit hoax because she's so hateful that she wants to find these things that she can attach herself to. Oh, hey, Growing Up Scientology is here. Aaron, I would be happy as hell if you want to join me. There's a link up there, and you're more than welcome to join me on panel. It's fascinating. Let me actually make sure this is Growing Up Scientology because I don't want to get caught by that. Go to channel. Yeah, that's a real one. All right, that's real, Aaron. We've been discussing your live stream from today with Nora about your subscriber count and the drama going in with that community. And we were just about to watch Scott talk about how he took down a group of people, is where we're at right now. But shoot me an email and we can do something later on. I don't really work that way. I'm sorry. I understand if you don't have time right now and don't want to join, but you jumped in, so I thought I'd offer it up to you. But we were talking about the fact that, one, I've shown up in your chat. I'm blocked in your chat because you didn't want to answer questions about the claims on that the protesters make. And actually, Aaron, I think that maybe I questioned your intent on Hollywood Boulevard when you went out there, and I'll be kind and say confronted Patrick, the man with the dog, and harassed the shit out of him. And I'm sure that probably got me blocked in your chat. So I'm not a fan of yours, Aaron. I'm not a fan of yours at all, based on just conduct I've seen you have on your live stream, and then what happened on Hollywood Boulevard. So there's that. But I also don't really. Oh wait, we got a guest. Please hold. Hello.
This is the SP. This is, see the logo on the left side there, SPT. That's their moniker too. The Anti-Scientology protests.
Oh yeah, you gotta turn down.
Which I have linked.
Okay, so once you get your stuff straightened out there, Sharon Unicorn. Okay. You have to turn on your camera, and then I can verify you. And I'll verify you backstage, because as of right now, you seem to just be playing my own live stream back for me. We've seen it. Okay, Sharon, you got everything worked out? Your audio is turned off? I'll bring you up on stage. You don't have to turn on your camera. You can leave it off if you don't want to be on stream, but I just wanted to make sure you were legit. All right, I'll add you up. It's weird. I don't know what happened to the icons. Everybody used to have an icon before, and now you're just a blue screen. But welcome, Sharon. Can you hear me? Yeah. You got bad audio. Let me try to fix that a little bit. You might want to hold your phone a little closer to your face, since we're not seeing you anyway. That way your audio picks up better. It just sounds like you're in a deep, deep cavern. Is that better? No. Let me try this one. How's that? It's probably because you're not using headphones. I got everything turned off and your volume turned down, but we'll try it. We'll see how long we can do this. So we got Sharon Unicorn joining us. And I think she's working on her sound. Door knocker, I think we're okay. Sharon seems trustworthy. And last I saw Door knocker, they were only very small men that were doing that. And I can tell you 100% that Sharon is not a small man. We may have lost Sharon. Anyway, until Sharon comes back. To each their own? I don't know. I miss. Money. They're ready to take the common sense from you. Free choice is not there. See, I might have missed some of your other comments. I love the other app because I can actually see all your comments in order. They can't give an answer until you've donated the clearing. Yeah, I'm good with faith in the good. They make you out think they're picture perfect. Well, nobody's perfect, right? That I don't think anybody said that. But what you did say here, they can't give an answer until you've donated the clearing. No, that is not the case. One, the big difference between I've never been to a shrink. I don't think I have. Maybe as a kid, like at school, the school psychologist, maybe. That might be my only, but like Scientology, the purpose of Scientology is self-realization, right? There's another religion. It's not the Hindus. It's the what is that? What is that? There's one down in San Diego. Hare Krishnas, the happy welfare, whatever it's called, center. The self-realization center down in San Diego. Self-actualization. Yeah, you got to figure it out for yourself. Scientology is not going to tell you what's wrong with you. That is not Scientology. They would say that psychologists, shrinks, tell you. You go to the shrink, you pay them to tell you what's wrong with you. With Scientology, the goal is that you learn about yourself. You figure out for yourself. You're guided in that finding, right? Everything's a gradient, right? You start with the basic. You got to learn to walk before you learn to crawl before you can walk. You got to learn to walk before you can run. That's sort of the basic. Don't shrink, you're good. But so when you say they can't give an answer until you've donated the clearing, going clear means that you have worked through all of your issues. It's easier for a child to go clear than it is for an adult. Can you think of why that would be? Why would a child go clear faster than an adult? Anybody? Anybody? Oh, ZDT's here, waiting to go into court. Congratulations so far. I heard Scott didn't show up prepared because he's such a great lawyer. His legal skills are top notch, that he did not know what was going on. And so good. Scott deserves that. He was gloating that he was going into court with nothing. If you're correct, you're incorrect, Wizzy. Scientology tries make a person become clean because of Not where do you get this? And it doesn't even like Telescope. Word that question better and pop it back in there. I don't even have slow mode on. You should be able to do it right away. You're a college educated professor, so I know you'll be able to type real quick. Less mental baggage. Yeah, he definitely took in less mental baggage today. I was in the middle of showing a clip and we got sidetracked with something. Less likely to question. Less likely to question. Why did you see a school counselor? Were you a bad boy when you... No, I was just trying to think of like one time I always thought about like, because I watched a lot of TV and I've worked on a bunch of TV shows where like we have shrinks and counseling and whatnot. And I go, wow, that's kind of, like maybe that'd be interesting to go in and talk to somebody, but I was unwilling to pay all that money. They get what, $100 an hour or more. I hear the stories, but no, I never like, I've never felt like I needed to go talk to somebody. I had friends that I would talk to, or, yes, I actually would agree. So the spirituality thing is sort of a side bit, right? Because they call themselves a church, because they have services, right? It's a very different. We were talking about this earlier. We never probably got through it. I got sidetracked, but they have church services, and it's sort of like I don't know how to describe. I do know how to describe it. It's they will have music, but they will like cheerful modern songs and things. But they talk about just like wholesome things, and it's similar to Catholic service without reading out the Bible, but they will talk about L. Ron Hubbard and some of the things that he talked about. It's sort of a non, because again, you can be a Catholic, you can be Jewish, you can be whatever religion you want, and also do Scientology. So I went to one or two, but not something whizzy. You are incorrect, because Scientology tries to get a person to become clear because of the thetans in their soul. Well, you've got some words right, but they're not really in order, and clearly without understanding. In order to become clear, you will have to basically clear out your suppressive mind and your the thetan is, I am a thetan. You are a thetan. The thetan is like the reference to your soul, right? The thetan. But I know you're like claim to be some religious scholar. I don't see it, because I would think actually, Telescope, that if did anybody verify that you're the right one? I'm sure somebody did. Because I'm just curious. Like, Telescope. Which Telescope account are you on? You're on that one. Okay. It's Telescope 1317. What does that mean? Is that just a random number? You had stuff from 10 years ago, 13 years ago. You've been sitting on that channel for a while. 2006. Wow. Okay. Tommy Temper de-wrenched Peter Burns for abuse. You think so? You think that maybe just Peter Burns was an a-hole and Tommy was like, had enough of him? because the simplest explanation might just be that telescope. I know you look for the really, deep rooted whatever, you can see it in your telescope exposed himself at the playground. Bob says, no, that was a pool, and he had on a one-piece suit, and he looked adorable. But no, I don't think that's true. I know. I had to check, Telly. It's you. It's you. I just got to verify. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be talking to somebody. It's not really. I don't know if you've noticed, Telescope, but since we all started together, these clone accounts have become really prevalent. They're popping up like all over the place. It's just randomness. But even Scott got caught by a clone of me one day. And I was watching, I go, this dumb fuck, he's not going to check. He's not going to verify that's me because the shit I was saying was awful and it wasn't even me. I was like, please check, Scott. I even had to break down and email him. I go, look, man, here's a screenshot. I'm blocked in your chat. I'm banned in your chat on WYSIWYG 742. You have me banned. You've hid me on your channel. That's not me. Said, and he knows that I don't talk to him like that. So, but people do it. Fake telescope accounts do not know anything about Scientology. But telescope, you don't know anything about Scientology. Clearly, you didn't know what a Thetan was. The simplest of all things. And you don't know what it means to go clear. Going clear is freeing yourself. I never got there. I didn't, I wasn't even close. But when you can, for instance, how I like see squirrels and I go off on a tangent. If I was clear, I'd be able to stay on point. I'd be focused more. I wouldn't have these distractions. I would, it's definitely a higher level thinking because your subconscious mind is cleared out of the garbage and you're just putting the good stuff in there, the right stuff, And it doesn't mean those ideas and those things are gone, but it's how your subconscious mind handles them. It's how you don't, get triggered by people like Telescope coming in because they've left some engram in your head that makes you fucking just hate them, right? And that rage comes out. It's triggered. It's engram coming out and going out and taking it out on Telescope. But, I don't have that. So, have you read Dianetics? Because I own it. I have not read Dianetics. I've done some Dianetics auditing. I had intro to Dianetics. We were talking about that earlier. I'm glad you read Dianetics. It doesn't show that you've read Dianetics based on your chat comment, but maybe you were just, So. But Dianetics is not Scientology. Right? Dianetics was what led to Scientology. There's a whole lot more to Scientology, obviously. A lot of housewives did Dianetics and became happier. Bought the book. I remember growing up as a kid seeing the Dianetics, read all about it. I think that's what it was on TV. There were like 4 channels back then. No, actually, there might have been 5. Very few channels. And cartoons would come on Saturday mornings. And after school TV was a blast. Yeah, I didn't say it. Telescope. Don't be like that. I never said that. I said it's just not exactly the same thing. But it is considered a Scientology religious book. Yes. I don't need to say all these things. And don't be a dick. Because I won't put up with you for very long. Offer something of value with your high-level education. Telescope. Please. Hope's back, everybody. Just on time, Hope. Just in time. We're going to go back here. If I can find... There he is. There he is. Watch this. So this is taking us back to Scott from earlier, because this is just going to be fun. So Scott makes this claim here coming up that I want you to see. That one there. Okay. Let me know if it sounds bad. Let me see. Where's the sound? Okay.
Building it up.
You told them
So
to
he's...
Yeah, I told him.
When we left, Scott was going to do a little gloating because he's just thrilled, tickled, pink that he went and disrupted a bunch of content creators and news stations and spread his lies to the world. So he's proud of himself, and he's going to slap himself on the back here real quick. And then what he's going to do is tell a flat out, blatant mistruth. You'll see.
I'm building it up, boo.
What you did was way more important than the...
Yeah, well, no, but it's important because it's influencers.
I know it. And there's...
And 1.6 million people saw it. That's not just
Okay,
his...
but tell them what you said.
Yes, don't rush me, babe.
Okay, we're almost at court.
I know, don't rush me, babe.
They're going to bicker here for a minute.
I said that Scientology is a cult, and that he asked me, which was a great question by Andrew, he asked me what's...
So you guys know who Andrew Callahan is. Channel 5 News. He goes around and he does newsy videos. Very popular. Picks up. He came out and he came out to the convoy. He was running around doing his thing. I don't know how I feel about it. Personally. I don't, because I consider it very disingenuous. And it misguides people, especially a younger audience that sees the content that Callahan puts out that isn't really truthful. And, he mocks, and it's all about making fun of things. And I don't like that. I don't like it because it's just not true. And he misrepresents what it is that he's talking about. And I think that at one point probably thought it was funnier, but now that we've gotten to this point where there's, people are doing the things, the violence that they're doing, and we're divided as a country and political lines and whatnot. Like it has, it is, it's not helpful. Hang on. CNA Productions. Christopher Hitchens, Scientology is a racket and a con job. Play his clip from 16 years ago. Okay. We'll have to say that for another night. I haven't seen it. But interesting. Maybe I don't know. It's 5:30. We'll see. Let's see how fast we get through this. I think I can star that comment so that we can get back to it. Because I can't do anything right now. My screen is tied up. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. Starred. Okay, I got that started. Okay, well, I'm putting it in my pocket, and we'll circle back to that one here in a minute. Seriously, we'll circle back because I'm curious. I'm open to listen, watch anything. I just don't know what it is. I always get a little terrified playing things I haven't watched because you never know what kind of nonsense is in there. Not untruths, but just like, I don't know, things that get you in trouble. It's old though. It should be fine.
It's the worst.
First he said,
do you think I'm a
we're Scientologist? And then Scott leaned back in and he was like, no. And then he said, he was like, are you a Scientologist? He said, no. And then he said, do you think we are? He said, no. And then he was like, I'm just getting the message out. And then the guy goes, what's the worst thing? What's like the worst thing that Scientology does? You know, because I'm sure he was probably like, what the heck? Why did this guy, you know? And then Scott brought up the Scientology auditing and asking sexual questions and having children audit older adults and men. So.
Oh shit! This ain't the court. We gotta go to all the way to the other side.
Okay. Why are you freaking out?
I don't know. I just
This one. Thought ZDT was a.
I literally shut down I literally shut down a cult by a Proud Boy.
So Scott. Well, we keep playing this. So he's talking about David, aka Santa, from the 1776 movement, which was the continuation of the People's Convoy. And David was in one of the trucks driving in the People's Convoy, who also is a Proud Boy. He wore a Proud Boy hoodie, and he is a Proud Boy. Not a slur by any means. And it's funny because we're now coming to find out, and we'll do a whole thing on the Proud Boys, because again, it's controversial, but it is a left-wing grift. And you upset the wrong people, and they will drag you through the mud. But I will leave it at this. The one thing the Proud Boys did do is they stood up to the left-wing violent extremists that were in the Pacific Northwest. They were in California. They were in New York. They were in D.C. They were the only ones who stood up. Oath Keepers stood up as well. They were the adults in the room. And I think things would have been far worse if it weren't for the Proud Boys. So what Scott's trying to do is hate the Proud Boys, get you to hate the Proud Boys, because he believes the hoax of who the Proud Boys are and what they did. Have the Proud Boys been violent? Yes. They respond to violence with violence. 2 of them went to jail and probably are still in, maybe, I don't know if they're still in jail or not, for NYU, because they responded to violence with violence, but continued the violence after the violence should have stopped. And that is why they went to jail. Because when, it's weird to say the Proud Boys can be victims, because they're certainly not victims. But for legal purposes, they were victims when they were being assaulted by this group of black bloc dressed protesters. And the minute these protesters assaulted them, they could legally defend themselves. The problem is that the Proud Boys are tougher and badder than the Antifa soldiers that attack them, and they really beat the shit out of them. They didn't kill them, but they really beat the shit out of them. Once they had been neutralized as a threat, once the threat was over, the 2 Proud Boys kept kicking the shit out of them, and that is why they went to jail. That's the only time. There's other Proud Boys. Hey, welcome, Al Munson. Somebody make sure that's the real Al Munson. Not the, oh, look, that's a funny picture. Look at you. You're so creative, Al. You put Elon Musk face on Donald Trump because you believe the hoax that he's the president. You're so smart, Al. I didn't realize you were that smart. Oh, my goodness. You're the only fucking idiot to figure that out. Musk is our president. Like, that's the way it goes. PBs. Patriot D says Proud Boys are thug felons, angry losers. No, they're actually not. They're the most peace. What's the word I'm looking for? They're like the UN of the Pacific Northwest. When the police refused to stand up to these violent left-wing extremists that you gaslight people and deny are there, trust me, when I feel frosty, I'm going to show you more of that because I want to remind people of who was out there and what they were doing. Let's see, Al. So when Antifa beat you up, does that make you sissy? So what Al's doing is Al's referring to the Wii Spa, where highlights a man told the spa that he identified as a woman, and went into the women's only floor of the spa, which is a Korean spa in Koreatown, Hollywood, LA area, called Wii Spa, very big place. And Al Munson of all people, probably doesn't know what that protest was about. But when this man who was charged by 5 women and found guilty of sexual assault, because we don't like sexual assaulters, do we, Al? He was found guilty of sexual assault. Now, that didn't happen until after Wii Spa 1 and Wii Spa 2 happened. But when Wii Spa 1 happened, the women who stood up for the woman who was assaulted in the Wii Spa, look at the his dumb look on his face. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have paused it there. That when the women stood up for the mother and the 2 mothers and the children, the young girls, they weren't children, they were young adult women, teenage girls that were in the sauna, and this Margera guy comes in swinging dick all over the place. You get it? Swinging dick in the women's only spa, that this woman was like, oh, hell no. And she went and complained. And the spa told her, there's nothing we can do. She identified as a female. And, well, guess what? In the end, he ended up getting sentenced. He was charged 5 counts or 5 charges. These 5 women were found to be truthful, and he lost in court. But before that happened, people went out. The women said, we're going out and we're going to protest Wii Spa because this is bullshit. And what happened is a group of LGBTQ plus IA, whatever it was at the time, black blocked, as I documented and others documented, were out there waiting for protesters to arrive at Wii Spa. And as they arrived, they assaulted a woman. They assaulted some street preachers. One of the street preachers was hit over the head with a skateboard. They used violence to get their way and assaulted people. So what Al Munson's doing is he's saying, oh, look at Wizzy. He was assaulted by 20 people, so he's a total pussy. Yeah. So they attempted to steal my camera and my gear. I just so happened to be wearing like $12,000 backpack on my back that was a live stream unit, and all my gear. I held on to most everything. I was pepper sprayed several times, maced, as they chased me around LA with no police in sight, and it was all caught on camera and documented. And so Al Munson's one of those people who wants to come in here and trigger me, but see, I'm not triggered. For me, what it is the Al Munsons, the Minas, the Scott here, this moron thinks that when he posts this on his channel, me getting assaulted by these people, that I deserve it. right? So when they go out on the street and they tell you that all Scientologists are pedos and child traffickers and all of these things, they're just flat out fucking lying, first off, because they don't care about the truth, but they themselves are the violent ones, the deceptors. They do more harm. They attack women, right? Because like Scott here, he attacked women at La Poubelle. He didn't give two shits about any of these women that had nothing to do with what Danny Masterson did to another woman in a restaurant that nobody knew about until it all came out. But because Francois Costner wrote a letter that said, hey, you know, I knew Danny. This is the person that I knew in her letter. But because she did that as a witness statement but it's not a witness statement, it's a character statement. A number of celebrities did that because the guy they knew wouldn't do what was claimed. And so they wrote these letters. But because of that letter, Scott goes to La Poubelle, the restaurant that's owned by Francois Costner, and assaults the patrons on a regular night. People who are out there to enjoy their evening, do their thing. He does not want them to have this restaurant to go to. So he's going to call these women names and act like a fucking fool and think that the cops need to protect him because of his First Amendment rights. And then he's going to turn around and he's going to post video of me getting assaulted by actual pedophiles and the people who were going to stand up against those pedophiles that got the shit beaten out of them. I didn't get the shit beaten out of me. They tried, but I didn't let the mob of 20 assault me. That included a fucking journalist, a left-wing journalist from Los Angeles, several left-wing journalists who constantly go online and claim that they've been assaulted by police. They've been assaulted by all these people. Well, they haven't. They're just great liars. That's what they've done. And I literally showed you, but nobody wants to believe me. They want to believe this dumb fuck. Right? How? Like he says, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Al Munson, you're a piece of shit. And by the way, somebody doxed you in one of the chats the other day. You're a piece of shit. Go fuck yourself, Al. Seriously. You're a bad faith, left-wing nut job who bounces in and out of these chats and has your little troll treehouse. And so you come over here trying to get me riled up because you think it's fucking funny. Well, you lost the election because you believe the shit you believe. You support the bullshit you do, and you're not even honest. You can't, you think Elon Musk is the president. Like, it doesn't matter how many times you have to be told what Elon Musk's role is. And the fact that you don't even support somebody who's far more fucking intelligent and far more together than you are, Al, that it blows my mind, and it shows me that you're not capable of critical thought or basic common sense because you lack it. It lacks in your comments. Doxing Grandma, I appreciate that. You got a truck. Of course you believe me. MJ believes me. Yeah, they doxed you, Al. They doxed you. So, but it's like, come on, man. Really? You want to be like Reenactment with Dolls, which I still can't believe she said the things she did on stream the other day. I really like her honesty was incredible, right? It's still sad to me that it took her getting a taste of her own medicine, which I hate that, for her to realize the person she had been. But like, going back to Scientology, you got to learn for yourself sometimes. You got to figure it out. You got to see it for yourself. We're watching a great TV show right now, The Blacklist. No spoilers, y'all. And that's what I should be doing right now, is having dinner and watching The Blacklist before I go to bed. But for you guys, we're here, and we're gonna play this one little piece. The Blacklist, first 3 seasons. There's just been a major thing that happened in episode 16, I think. Major incident that happens in season 3, episode 16. And I won't say it because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't watched it. It's a great, well done show. But the whole thing is Raymond Reddington is having to prove to this woman the truth, but she's got to find it for herself. And it's fascinating to watch the light bulbs and the clicks and the things go off. Well, thank you. It's out of control, FO. It's out of control. Hey, Al, how's it going in the chat, buddy? Silver spoon nepotism, I am definitely lacking in. You don't need silver spoon nepotism. And, like, Al, for you to be... Entitlement doesn't require financial gain or financing or inheritance. You come off entitled to me the same way Scott comes off entitled to me. Entitled to believe that you're the only fucking person that the helicopters in LA could be flying for because you're so narcissistic. The entitlement that you would treat people with such utter disrespect is fascinating to me. So, Al Munson, I don't dox people, buddy. I don't dox people. The one thing I do, trust me, Al, the one thing I do is I keep that shit for myself. I feel entitled. I feel entitled sometimes. I keep that shit for myself. I put in a little change purse, tuck it in there, and I just hang on to it until you kind of need it. And you just kind of deal with things the way you need to, right? I don't need to let anybody know what I know. I never have. I share it with my inner circle, those special things that, we do, and it stays in that inner circle. But yeah, Al, it stays there because I don't have a big mouth. I don't go on live stream and run my mouth and share everything I know and share my personal life and share. I don't. I'm really guarded, Al. I'm really guarded. I guard the shit out of my life because it's nobody's business but mine. It's nobody's business. I don't need to share what I had for lunch with everybody. Sometimes I have something really good and I like to, but that's it. Treat people with such utter disrespect because you're always just so respectful to everyone, right? Yeah, Brett. When you come in here and you do what Al does, yes, I fight back. Brett Boyle, I fight the fuck back. When you come in here claiming everybody's a Nazi and throwing Nazi salutes, yeah, I'm going to fight the fuck back because you're in my house. And I let you in so you could maybe be an adult. But you proved you can't be an adult. You can't have an adult conversation. We've had those conversations, Brett Boyle. Remember? You can't do it. You're as dense as Nora. You're as dense as fucking DOA. Like, nothing gets through to you. Let's see. WYSIWYG TV 742. I see you sometimes in DOA's chats. How do you manage? Oh, I'm blocked. All my accounts are blocked. So Lara FM blocked my last one, which is my original channel, the WYSIWYG TV channel. The channel I'm using now here is WYSIWYG 742. That's been blocked banned for a long time by Scott. And then there was somebody that had a clone account that was in chatting, acting as me. And that's when I emailed Scott going, hey, man, you got to learn how to check these things because that's not me. You can see that I'm banned. I can't chat. And I have the evidence of when I was banned and that I can't. Yeah. Anyway. And then I have the WYSIWYG TV test channel, which I used to use to do test broadcasts so that it wasn't going out to everybody on the regular stream. So I have that channel. That's blocked. That's banned. Then I had the Tucker Live channel. That was the last one. And like everybody knows it's Tucker Live. But when he talks shit about me and then like plays with me as a little dog, because I ask legitimate, fair questions and ask him why he's doing what he's doing to me, I then get banned because he has this thing with his chat and then they're all butthurt. And they think, oh, I'm OSA, I'm OSA. Everything's OSA, right? Which is funny because I get everything's, Antifa. Everything actually was Antifa. And it's documented. Their call of OSA is just speculation. They don't actually have any evidence of that, which is fucking hysterical. OSA, Office of Special Affairs, Scientology, deals with people like Scott who go out and protest and put people in danger. They keep people safe. They also are sort of like the detectives and they're the secret teams. And as far as I know, if I remember correctly, and if you're still here and you're watching, correct me if I'm wrong, but were you not OSA, Aaron? I don't know if that's true or not. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But it was either you or the other guy was OSA. It might be the other guy who just recently passed away. What's your music channel, Brett? Oh, Brett has a music channel? Oh, you should share that, Brett. Eric the actor. Is that Scott? If it's Scott, just come up, man. You can click the link, Scott. It's up there pinned. Can one of the mods confirm to me? It appears pinned on mine, but maybe people don't see the link because it does say let your voice be heard. Click the link to join me, but only one person has. But watched you at 1776 RM. You were a total phony. So Eric the actor, how did you watch me at 1776 RM? Because I really didn't stream. I wasn't even there. I didn't stay there. I streamed the night that they went into DC, where Santa got arrested. Well, yeah, I streamed that night because I didn't really go out there and stream because they weren't doing anything but sitting in a parking lot. And by then I had already sort of, I fell in love with the unicorn, and the last place I wanted to be was in that shithole parking lot. I was in a nice place, enjoying myself, good company. I was fed really well. Tucker was happy as shit. And I was in love. And the only thing I could think about was the unicorn. So when you say you watched me at 1776, I know you're full of shit. Because anybody who watched knows I wanted nothing to do with what was going on there. Eric the actor, do you know that I was the one that went to Santa, David, when a buddy of mine from California told me that a level 3 sex offender had showed up in the camp? Do you know that? Are you aware of that little tidbit of information? And it's documented on live stream. Oh, God. I know it hurts to hear it. I know it hurts to hear it. And do you know that when we pulled into the Pacific Northwest, that, as I was streaming and the team is doing research to find out what the fuck's going on because some, left-wing activists online was saying stuff about the infamous number or the unlimited number of claims about the convoy that they hated so much. They were making claims about somebody in that, what's his name? Bandit. They're making claims about Bandit and what he was. Well, guess what? It also turned out to be true. But you know what I also didn't do? Was say anything until I knew and I was confident and I was sure that what was being said was true. Because it's important. It's important because you have a responsibility. As Scott says, you are an influencer. It's obvious you are just looking to be a part of a group, part of something to make you feel accepted, the convoy. That's why I stream on a regular basis. Oh my goodness. Oh, Eric, the actor. I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you. I really do. I really do. Look at how often I stream. I certainly don't do this to be a part of the group or anything else. In fact, I wish I didn't have to. I never wanted to. It wasn't my thing. I love playing with the toys though. I love the like the little Stream Decks and the little 810 Mini Pro. Like I love all the toys. I like playing with the gadgets, and you know, I got a fucking string level sitting here to level my camera, make sure that's good. You know, I got iPads and mixing boards and fucking cool microphones, and I like the toys, Eric. I love the toys. So there's that. I'm getting giddy now. But yeah, I'm sure the chat will fix you, Eric. I'm sure the chat will. Don't want to have rights because you chose something that was different placed onto your identity. Oh, Christina. Okay. Telescope. I'm not going to tell you to stop attacking Christina, but you need to. It's unacceptable. Sal says, I have to agree with Eric the actor. And what do you agree about, Sal? What, like, which sock account are you for? Because I'm curious, like, which one of the anti-Scientology protesters are you? I could make, yeah. So can you tell me how kids are trafficked in Scientology, Sal? Can you tell me? Because none of your friends can. And Double O Jericho. I doubt that's the real Jericho. Yeah. Okay. So just so you know, when I find fake accounts, you're deleted automatically. You're not even welcome. Hide this channel. Okay. Yeah. So Jericho just got kicked out of here because Jericho's one of those clone accounts trying to be somebody else. So that's cool. I'm just giving you all fair warning. And the mods, you guys know how to check them. You see somebody like that, and it's, you know, the rhetoric doesn't match the account. It stands out pretty solid. You can just fucking boot those people. Let's see. When was Sal created? Sal was created, he's old. He's July 18th, 2022. He has no friends, though. He has no friends. I'm sorry. Sorry. Jericho didn't have friends either. I happen to think Eric is a smart little person. Baba Booey to you all. That's just weird now. Baba Booey. You know who says Baba Booey? That tall, curly-haired Howard Stern. Let's just say that I accepted your argument, Christina. Somebody please tell me what Telescope and Christina are arguing about. I missed something. I can't go back and find it. It's all Howard Stern references. Yeah, I figured. I kind of reckon. I wasn't a big fan. I used to like Howard Stern when he wasn't this political dickhead. He was actually funny and interesting and a shock jock. But then once he got onto the political nonsense and the hating Trump because I guess he felt like he had to, I think Stern went downhill. And I don't know anybody that listens to Stern anymore. Is he even still on the radio? Well, Sirius radio. Oh, I just got the call. Okay, babe. I got dinner's done. Okay. 2 seconds. We're gonna finish playing this bullshit and then I'm going to have dinner. So watch this. This is Scott claiming that he shut down a pedo Proud Boy group.
A pedo cult, a Proud Boy named Santa. I spent 2 years and went to jail a bunch of times, so I truthfully could never say anything about Proud Boys and still had done more than you've done.
The two things have nothing to do with it.
Cockily. And
Scott was served with restraining orders because of his First Amendment right to be a dickhead. And he was harassing people. And the police said, this is what you need to do to make this stop, because he's out there spewing this nonsense. And I'll give you the quick rundown. Bandit, who is a level 3 sex offender who took a plea deal out of Indiana or wherever the fuck that was, for sexual assault of his girlfriend, wife, I forget what she was, daughter. It was his wife's daughter. And he was facing, I don't know, 50 years in jail, something ridiculous like that. And if I remember, it was 2 counts that he took a plea deal and went to jail for, I don't know, a number of years. And he showed up. He was part of the outlaw group that scared Scott out of Hagerstown. So Bandit and Big D and Hot Rod was his name, and a whole bunch of other people. They were known as the outlaws within the trucker convoy camp. And so that's who he's talking about. Bandit had served his time, and what Scott doesn't like is that David Rydell, Santa, is a religious man, believes in God, whatnot. I'm trying to give you the short story. Both these guys, he knows the story. They served their time. They did whatever they had to do jail-wise, and they were out, and they were both legally allowed to be in this parking lot where this group was. And Santa believes in redemption and forgiveness and all of these things. We had these discussions on live stream. I interviewed Santa, and I interviewed Bandit, and we heard all their stories, the reason why they did what they did. Santa, why he kept this guy and the other guy in camp and allowed them to stay there. And I gave the story and people heard it. And Scott thinks that he shut down the protest. That protest was over well before that. That protest had been over for months. It was over when 1776 went to the parking lot, when they left TPC, or when TPC ended and they were like all going home, and then it restarted to 1776. It was done weeks after that. So for Scott to say he shut it down, Scott was just an annoying piece of shit to people. Scott doesn't like the fact that people have their rights to the First Amendment. And so he just went out to harass these people day in and day out. Facts don't matter to him. The law doesn't clearly matter to him. nor does the truth. So Bandit vehemently said that this didn't happen, that the charges were brought up on him by his ex-wife, and it wasn't true. People are going to believe what they want to believe. I heard the story. The problem is that people were hearing a lot of information, a lot of things floating around as to what it meant. The charges on the websites, and yes, he was a level 3 sex offender by this point. His story and what he says happened is very different than the things that those portray, and I understand that. But people were saying something different. He told his side, they told their side, Santa told his side, everybody told their sides, and people were allowed to make up their minds. Scott believes what he believes, and that's fine. Oddly enough, I had 2 people reach out to me after that. People that I know well and I trust, that said that they did the same thing to a man in their lives, which I was blown away by. So people were left to make up their own minds. Now, the other guy, he was a minor when it happened, and he did it to minors, and it was a weird, fucked up story. I wouldn't have let any of these people stay in any camp. But guess what? I'm just a journalist live streamer, and I have nothing to do with any of it. But Scott's going to tell you a different story. And he shut down all this stuff.
Randy Ireland. I called out Randy Ireland for
Randy
a year.
Ireland. Like, seriously? He's been the king of dots. False dots for the longest time. But he was proud of himself.
What? Process servers? I don't know. They're sheriffs.
No, I mean, like, do they serve?
Yeah, sheriffs.
Yeah. All right. It's time for dinner, but one last thing. FO says, what's a female? Well, I learned today that the female is the big egg, or the big, and then the little reproductive part is the male. That's what I learned today. Because it's spelled out in the EO. Just so everybody was clear. Go read the EO and you'll know exactly how it works. Until then, you guys. Until then. I got to say whizzy out, y'all. It's been fun. We get sidetracked too easy. I can't go on like this. Telescope. You can still be what you want to be, but on your driver's license, it'll say male or female. There's really just those 2 options. So whatever you need, buddy. We'll respect your choices. We'll call you whatever you want. We call you Telescope now, just like you asked us. If you asked us to call you by your real name, we'd do that too. But yeah, Konami, he never went to trial. And he claimed that he didn't have the money to fight it properly, and that his court-appointed attorney, the state, basically said, you better take this plea deal, otherwise you're going to go to jail for 70 years. So he says he did what he had to do. And he still says to this day that he's innocent, and, if he had the money, he could prove it, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's not up for me to decide. It's not up for me to decide. People do fucked up shit. I don't like fucked up people. So, Al Munson says, Wizzy's still defending pedos. Not defending. You're not listening, Al. Use your big boy hat. Use your big boy hat. Yeah. Use your big boy hat. It's funny to leftists. The minute you talk about something, they inherently, it's like you can't talk about illegal immigration. It gets conflated, right? Like they can't have an adult conversation with you. If your argument's better, great, whatever. Always come back. It's when my inner yeah, it's when it lets me. It is getting cold. I gotta go. Wizzy out. See you guys. Bye. I wish it would just end.